take first watch.
Hello, welcome to an all-new spooky episode of the First Watch podcast. I'm Zach, and I'm here with Cole and Morgan. How are you guys both doing?
Would you like to meet a ghost?
No,
The
no, I
ghost
wouldn't.
is in the shell and the god is in the machine, boys. We're so back.
The fuck was happening in the turn of the century in Japan, other than lots of people killing themselves and also the internet? I guess that's it. It's
Yeah,
self-explanatory, actually.
it's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty easy explanation.
Today we're here to talk about a movie. I don't know how iconic it was when it dropped. This is not a movie that I knew about until many, many years later, but has had a appropriately very strong afterlife on the internet in the age of social media, and that is Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Pulse. As you can see behind me, a little arrow released right there. Beautiful cover. I love this cover. This is the first Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie I've ever seen. Japanese auteur, been around. I don't know if he was in the 80s. The earliest stuff I've seen from him is goes back to the 90s. The three of us, have actually done an episode on his earlier 1997 film, Cure, which when that released into the Criterion Collection, we did an episode about that. That is our from our Spotify era, if you want to call it that, like our audio only era. That is our second most streamed episode of all time after the Titanic episode. Above any of like the year-end lists or all like the Disney Pixar, that was number two. People loved that episode. So, when I saw that this was playing, Pulse, I mean, on 35 millimeter at the Texas Theater here in Dallas, Texas, I was like, we should do that episode after we've done our year end, after we did the new release Emerald Fennel stuff. That would be a really good idea to do. And then I did not go and see the movie in theaters for personal reasons that could not have been avoided. I had an endoscopy 2 days ago. If you've ever had an endoscopy, it's all right. It's not the worst. It's not the worst procedure I've ever had
Of
done.
of the oscopies, it ranks
It's the
pretty low.
it's the better it's better than a colonoscopy. You get to eat the day before, which is nice. But that was like super early Thursday morning and the screening was Wednesday night, so I was not able to go and see it. But nevertheless, we had already penciled it into the calendar to talk about this movie. So I'm pretty excited to do that. But before we do that, we will, as we always do, kind of talk about what we've been catching up with recently, starting with any new releases that anybody's seen. So feel free to take the baton, whoever wants it.
Do you want to just start with the bride? You just kick
Yeah,
that
start.
off.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rip that band-aid off.
Yeah.
Oh,
So Margaret Gyllenhaal's sophomore slump of the century, The Bride, released in the last week or so as a recording. Divisive reception, one could say, leaning negative largely, but there are defenders in these streets. I thought this bordered on unwatchable at times. Just deeply long and annoying. And, I'm not, I said in the chat afterwards, I'm not selling any Jesse Buckley stock, but like, it's not good.
I liked
I've
her
heard
performance as Kate McKinnon as
I've heard
Mary
people
Shelley.
come to the defense of this turn as being like super invested, which I would say that yeah, it is.
Sure.
Um, it is.
Committed.
If I don't know that I could rattle off every Jesse Buckley performance that I've ever. It's a Wild Rose and Women Talking, and there's a lot. What is Wicked Little Letters? What is that one called?
Yeah,
Or
that's
Wicked
right.
Letters?
Yeah.
Okay,
Lost
there's a
Daughter.
show called like Wicked Little Lies, so I got confused. I thought I might be mixing them up, but this is dead last.
Yeah.
This is at the bottom. This is the worst one,
And
and
like,
she's clearly the best part. I mean, maybe we all collectively agree Penelope Cruz, by virtue of being Penelope Cruz, is the best part of it.
Yeah,
yeah.
but she gets stuck with like a horrible role of like being the girl boss.
Yeah, I wanted Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial career to be better than this. Like I was rooting for that to be good. But
Yeah,
I mean,
when
she
this
could
was
always bounce
announced,
back.
so this must have been announced somewhere around the time the Del Toro Frankenstein was being announced. And I remember thinking, this is a more interesting idea. We're riffing more overtly on Whale and the 30s Universal horror monster Frankenstein, like that thing. And we're riffing less on Mary Shelley. It turns out that was wrong on both counts. It was worse, and we are very much riffing on Mary Shelley for some reason. It's kind of
I,
amusing. Like the final needle drop, I sort of I sort of leave this in a Madame Web place where I was like, well, that was an unmitigated disaster. Kind of fun, I guess.
it does have very big Man of Web energy.
Yes. This what part of the 2000s did this crawl out of? Some distant 2006 corridor of Hot Topic, Charlotte Russe, Claire's, I don't know.
Tumblr.
Yeah,
It's so Tumblr coded.
it has well, especially in the wake of Folie à Deux, it's hard not to think about
Hmm.
like the Suicide Squad, Margot Robbie, like she was even crazier than him. Like just the aesthetic, just the look of it going in with her like splattery lipstick thing that she's got going on there.
Yeah. And it's just like it's a frustrating thing because if you take this and you're like, oh, you're telling the story that Mary Shelley wanted to say, but couldn't say it back then. And you're riffing on the Bride of Frankenstein and all that. And you know, I guess that's my question for all of these more overtly feminist reworkings is if we're not gonna change the framework to make it inherently more feminist, then what are we doing? Because the
I
bride doesn't get agency in being alive. So like,
I don't care for that approach. I don't care for like putting yourself in the position of saying, we're gonna rework Mary Shelley. Okay. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
and,
And it's it
and let's say that you do, right? Let's say that that's successful. Where, like I have trouble being like offended by any of these movies' ideas because I barely understand what they're even saying.
right.
Like the
mhm,
This
movie
is
is not
all
coherent.
this is all outside the nucleus. This is like Maggie Gyllenhaal comments about the movie type of thing.
Yeah,
And yeah, like
like
I don't know, man. I gotta be honest. Obviously none of this stacks up to The Bride of Frankenstein. But like even from a perspective of feminism and feminine agency and like what it means to be a woman and what it means to lack agency as a woman. The Bride of Frankenstein in like 30 seconds gets that crystal fucking clear. It's very like, oh yeah, okay, iconic. Right, got it. Immediately,
mhm.
heartbreakingly human, devastating. It is the best of those Universal monster movies by a good clip, I think. The only other one that I would really throw out there would be Creature and like Invisible Man are like both very good. But that's like,
Yeah, those
what are you
those are
doing?
the best. Yeah.
You're gonna take shots at that one? No, you're riding the coattails of that one because we all like The Bride of Frankenstein. Because we all know The Bride of Frankenstein. We're like, oh, that's like a cool thing. It's better than the original Frankenstein movie,
Hmm.
as my point there should have implied.
And this is such a confused movie. There's way too many ideas going on. It doesn't know what to do with any of them.
None of them are fun. Christian Bale, awful. He's
dude,
routinely in bad movies. He's not
Hmm.
always bad in movies, but he is miscast and bad and just what is going on with that?
never let me see this guy again.
Yeah, unless he's working with like Michael Mann, right? Like
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
I guess. I still think we could have done better. That's the last good turn from him was Ford versus Ferrari, and then
that is
Oh,
like a top three Christian Bale
that is
performance,
a
I think.
long
yeah,
time ago.
Yeah,
and
2019.
the one before that was The Dark Knight, and he's like fine in that.
I feel like there's got to be some 20, like the fighter. He's good in the
I like
fighter.
Sure.
I like him in the Malik movies he's in, but I know that's like a very tiny island that I'm on.
It's not his fault that Knight of Cups sucks.
It's great, anyways.
Whatever.
It's not really his fault that he sucks here. I have trouble blaming anybody
I
on
mean,
screen for any of this.
Now
yeah, like
it's
Because
Gyllenhaal.
like, yeah, because it's
but
you can tell it's pitched exactly how it's written and
Yeah.
directed.
Mhm.
It's like blaming anybody for being bad and Shyamalan's old. Like, this is how you were told to be. People made choices here. They sucked. I don't know, you could probably hear it in my voice. Like, this just completely demoralized me. I was still looking forward to this even after the,
Mhm.
you know, like, people didn't understand Showgirls in its time. Maybe
Sure.
we can get through.
A little campy fun time.
And it's just like,
This is not Showgirls.
it's not even like, I don't know, what's the shitty Paul Verhoeven movies? I'm sure he has them. I don't know. Sucks. Sucks to suck.
I am pro female directors burning money just like the men. So,
Sure. Yeah. Why not? I don't have any more ire for her. I don't think this was a Fennel thing, which was the last episode that we did,
mhm.
where there was somebody talking about like, would you give this energy to the men directors? Like, yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
a
often
We have a
hundred,
do.
a
show.
hu- yeah, where that is like a premise very
Yeah.
often. Yeah. So, Maggie is gonna get it as good as she gave it. But yeah, sure. I have no problem with that. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
I don't think they're gonna let her burn it like this again, because this has been a fucking
No.
disaster in terms of word of mouth, in terms of like money, return on investment. Like it's
Yeah.
horrible.
Back into the Netflix asylum she goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if
She'll be
anything.
fine though.
Yeah. Yeah. She can always act, right? Like she can always
Yeah.
fall back on being Maggie Gyllenhaal. The other new release, and I realize I'm just kind of busting up the order here, but I'll just go into it, is Cole's. I don't know if you've talked about this on the pod. I'm sure you did at some point or another. But it's that fifth international nominee, Surratt. In the I should say it more like a Lord Surratt. It's the way that he says that shit is hilarious. The French, right? Is Oliver
No,
Lax French? It's
Spain.
Spanish? Is it not
Yeah.
a? I think it might be a French co-production.
It might
I
be a
might,
French co-production, but this is
because so many
Spain's
things are. There you go.
nominee.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
produced by
Oliver Lax.
Almodovar. So,
It's produced by Pedro and Augustine Almodovar.
mhm.
Both of them, the Almodovar brothers. I'm actually curious now if this is yeah, it is a French co-production. That doesn't mean much. A lot of movies are. But yeah,
Most movies in
this
Europe are French
just,
funded.
you're gonna get some funding from CineArt or MKV, whatever, just MK2, one of those. Um, what is this about? Like people,
Uh,
I guess the approach, if you go to that Alordi thing, is like, don't look up the premise, don't da. There's nothing to me about the premise of this movie that like gives away anything other than it's
Well, it
it's going to
abandons
take
its
some.
premise about 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
So,
So, but it's not like it like comes there's a thing. There's a thing where you're like, "Oh, okay, there's that thing." Um, but it's like we're at a rave in the desert and we're going from point A to point B. The only real storyline that is ever introduced, well, there's kind of two. One of them is that we're running away from the authorities. Like the authorities are trying to like come in and shut down the party. We don't really know what's going on there, but it feels very fascist. It feels very war zone, and like what
yeah.
the characters are doing is clashing with like
Well,
geopolitical
very
strife.
specifically, they're like at the Moroccan Western Sahara border, which is a very, very contested hot zone.
Nothing that the movie is interested in talking to you about. If you have that context, like zone of interest style, like, I think more people know what Auschwitz is than know this. I'm
Hmm.
not saying, that, but like the movie's not going to give you any sort of feeling. You might as well be on Mars and those are space aliens attacking them. for as concerned as this seems to be with that side of it. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not materially interesting, but it's just
Mhm.
it's like there's Claire Denis and then there's this shit to me. You know, like Claire Denis will subtract some context and like hand holding, but then still get you to that place. Like still get you to that thing where you're like, "Oh, I understand how these pieces fit together of this geopolitical puzzle." Whereas this, it's like purely a background noise thing, which
Mhm.
is apt for the way that this movie is, and
Yeah.
apt for the way that these characters are, because they're like these like crust punk raver types who are just like keeping the party going along
Hmm.
this treacherous path,
Yeah.
um, from
Moronic Europeans who need to go home.
looking from to get from like one party to like a soup. That's kind of like it's kind of like the beach where they're like, you know, they're looking for that secret spot like that, like Mahalo, super crazy waves. We're gonna
Hmm.
whatever, you know, uh Aguirre, the Wrath of God. What am I thinking of? City of El Dorado, kind of like mythic, the mythic rave. And then there's the main storyline is that there's a dad and his son who are looking
Hmm.
for his daughter,
Yeah.
and they're in like a minivan driving through the desert looking for this person going from party to party, rave to rave,
Yeah.
looking for their daughter who has gone missing.
Hmm.
And that's the story.
He
Like
was the
that's
he was
Surratt.
he was the evil stepfather in Pan's Labyrinth.
No shit, that's him.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, That's
It's
that's that's the
it's of no
general.
surprise. It's of no surprise then that he's like the only one giving a performance in this movie.
He's the only one that has much of a character at all. Like I see
Yeah.
how this has been did was this nominated for casting or was that just
No,
like
but it was
shortlisted?
shortlisted.
Right. I remember talking about that because it's like I see how it's like a feat of exactly the opposite of like train dreams, right? You feel like these people are like real, like authentically part of this thing. Because I
Hmm.
see how casting would be there. But yeah, then when you're talking about like any of them as characters, it's like, I don't know, girl with dreadlocks, guy who doesn't wear a shirt. Like, there's
Guy
not
with peg
much.
leg.
The dog is probably the second most developed character in the narrative.
Probably. What I do love about this movie is how great it is. It's like a pure theatrical experience.
It a
Like,
100%. If you can watch this in a theater, don't watch it at home.
mhm, you gotta watch this with like Dolby quality
Just
speakers.
boom, 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 boom. Yeah, the fucking music in this bumps. I can't pretend it doesn't. And then there's like, you know, the
Hmm.
very like sorcerer, headlights, dust, rocky cliff, while the music is thump to thump to thump to thump to thump. Yeah, it just kind of, you know, Tangerine Dream sorcerer. I see what you're doing.
Hmm. Yeah, great experience. Great experience.
I wouldn't even go Wages of Fear. It's way more sorcerer in
Hmm.
vibe. I guess maybe that's just me saying that it's in color. It's like whisper thin, which is more the way that Wages of Fear tries to operate.
Hmm.
Like when they're going over certain treacherous things, and it's just like a truck driving over some rocks, and it's more, yeah. This movie pisses people off, which I find funny. Like if you were invested enough in this to get pissed off by it, it's like you fooled yourself a little, I think. That sounds like a criticism of the movie, and I guess it kind of
Yeah.
is.
I mean, it's about the unpredictability in nature. Like, don't be messing around where you don't know what's going on.
Biggest inhibitor to this is I had seen Climax in theaters just like a couple weeks before this, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
got
well,
it's
I
got it's
mean,
got the music, it's got the
that'll do
wait,
it.
what are these characters and like just the whole yeah. If you know Climax, then I've just spoiled this movie for you a little, but one of those is way more exciting and fun to me than the other, and tighter too. This is a little drawn out. I think it's
Mm,
going for that, but yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
the other
I thought this
yeah,
was fine.
fine, yeah.
It's okay, truthfully, I didn't like it at all. Uh but like it's clearly well made and like it achieves what it's going for. I don't think what it's going for has any worth really. Um
Mm-mm.
It probably
it's
landed a little better for me than you, but I get exactly where you're coming from. Where
it's
it's like I
just like
wouldn't blast this. I'm not saying it's terrible, but like,
yeah. I found it like bleak to the point of like, well, why would I care about anything that's happening here?
It's I don't want to spoil this movie, but like the its bleakness is funny to me. Not in a good way. In like a come on, man. Like
Yeah, it's like
Hmm.
there's a thing that happens. There's like a line of dialogue, and then something that happens right after it that's like absolutely the unintentional comedy moment of the year. Like it's staggeringly funny.
It's like
yeah,
almost cartoonishly awful
Yeah,
what happens.
it's so funny. Both of them. There's really two, and they happen
Yeah.
like 10 minutes apart from each other, and they're both fucking funny. Because of how serious the movie is, dude, it's like, and you're like,
Hmm.
no,
I
it's not
yeah,
really doing it for me, man.
it's taking itself way too seriously
Way
through the
too
whole thing.
seriously. Yeah. Needs more rave.
I This was pitched to me as like a rave movie. They dropped that in like 45 minutes.
Yeah. I do think it mostly, and I probably wrote it this way, like it works as an audio visual experience, especially in
Mhm.
theaters. Big picture, big sound.
Yeah.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah, I think if I watch this at home, this is like a 2 star.
The idea that this and Heinrich Job, which I have not seen and will not see, both boxed out Park Chan-wook is fucking dumb.
The-
Clearly, clearly Park should have had this movie slot.
I mean, clearly, but I understand why they made the choices that they did.
I don't.
I don't.
I don't. If the choice is like you're looking at the fourth Neon movie and
Uh-huh.
it's Surratt or no other choice, I'm not even talking about how much I prefer this. It's clearly better. It's clearly better. But
I
maybe it
mean,
doesn't have the will of the people or something. I don't fucking know.
that
It even
well,
uses music better. Like,
I mean, yes, but like this movie also just has like the oh my God, did you see Sriracha? You know what happens in Sriracha? Yada yada yada. So
that's
then it
so
just
boring.
becomes like a gossipy chain that leads to people voting for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Jacob Elordi going, Surratt.
Right. And then it becomes like a hot topic conversation.
Yeah,
And then, honestly, I kind of wonder if maybe the release date also hurt No Other Choice a little bit.
could be. Yeah.
It's too late.
It was like, right, when I saw it was like prime Oscar time, and that was
Hmm.
early, and then it dropped in December.
Yeah.
Yep. Probably
Just a
too
matter
late.
of timing.
And they just also don't give a fuck about him, which
Yeah.
I find
I mean, they've
astonishing,
never
but
nominated any of his stuff. So,
insane. Him and John Goodman, who knows what happened there?
Old Boy was like the first foreign language heater that ever reached me.
Yeah,
Not the first one I ever saw, but like the
hmm.
first one that was ever like, have you seen Old Boy? That shit's crazy.
yeah,
And like and indeed it was.
yeah. I watched a just on that. So I watched a double feature of Old Boy and then Audition, and Old Boy fucked my shit so bad that when I saw Audition, I was like, yeah, okay. Can't get any worse
Yeah.
than that shit, dude.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of
It's
sound, I did see the new film that came out this weekend that has a lot to do with podcasting and audio and,
Oh God.
the importance of sound in a theatrical experience, and that is
I'll probably go
Undertone.
see this. Oh yeah, Undertone. Yeah. I'll probably go see this, but like, oh my God. The marketing is so
Oh, the marketing's great.
dopey and over the top.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's the rule, boys and girls. If they advertise a horror movie as the scariest movie ever, they are fucking lying to you. They want your money so that you buy a ticket and you buy the extra big popcorn and the extra big soda. So what this movie about? This movie's about a horror podcast about,
out.
audio tapes.
I'm out.
Uh, uh, there's this woman named Evie and her co-host Justin who lives in London. So when they record, it's like literally 3 o'clock in the morning. Evie's back home in her small town taking care of her mom, who is on death's door. Her mom's a very devout Catholic, and Evie is not. Evie's the skeptic on the podcast. She doesn't believe in any of this stuff. One night, Evie and Justin
She's
get a.
Scully.
She's literally the Scully. One
Great.
night, one night, her and Justin receive a email with 10 audio files and a mysterious message. Um, that includes the word tenant in it, and I just couldn't stop giggling the rest of the movie thinking about that. So they start to play the files, and creepy shit goes down in that house. um, this movie's really fucking dumb.
It
It's
sounds
so
so
dumb.
stupid.
It's like, because the conceit is that we're in the house the entire time. The only characters we see on screen are Evie and her mother. Everyone else is a voice. It's her co-host, or it's the characters in the audio files that they're playing, or it's her shitty boyfriend back home, etc. And the movie is also trying to be about motherhood and postpartum depression because it turns out, surprise, she's pregnant, but she doesn't think she's going to be a good mom. And she doesn't also
This
she's also
is
not a
this is
Catholic
like
anymore.
we
So
have
like,
to stop
uh-oh.
screenwriters. We have to stop screenwriters. You're doing too much.
And like
I know
maybe
we
this is
just talked about a movie that
uncharitable.
maybe the last movie should have been doing more, Sarat, but like that's too much. Just stick to your thing and don't try
Hmm.
to fucking layer cake some trauma thing that like puts a lid on your thing.
Hmm.
Just explore what you want to explore. Don't fucking just I hate that shit. That is so screenwriting professor.
So
Oh, you've
yeah,
got to give her like an
we're
inner
we're,
concern. Fuck
we're
you. No, you
back.
don't.
We're back on generational trauma.
Thank you, Jamie Lee Curtis, Oscar winner.
What I will say in this movie's favor is that the sound mix is genuinely great. I saw this in Dolby. And for a movie that only cost $500,000, it is genuinely impressive what they pulled off
Mhm.
audially. And visually, there's some well, cheap tricks, but they are effective. Like when she's sitting at the dining room table listening to the audio, and she's got her headphones on, so the audio's isolated, and then you see the door behind her, but it's pitch black because it's the middle of the night, and you think you see something moving, but
Anyway,
also
stream Red Rooms.
yes, Stream Red Rooms, such a great movie. That's a great movie. Undertone is not.
I
Um,
think it's an instructive. I think I'm glad that the example came up because it opens that door later for Kurosawa where one of the things about Pulse that we will invariably talk about is how rare it is to get a movie about the internet right and not be
mhm,
fucking annoying. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, you watched, not to get too far ahead of the game, but like, you watched the 2006 Pulse remake, the American remake, and it's just like I don't have Americans yet made a good movie about the internet? Like, I don't know that we have. I don't know that we have.
I would actually have to think about that.
Maybe like with the internet in it, something like
Yeah.
Past Lives, which has like a Skype thing because it's about
Social
their long
Network.
distance. Yeah, okay. But
Yeah,
isn't
I'll
that like
take it.
more about college life and like a bunch of other shit? I guess Pulse is about other shit besides the internet too, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with Social Network. I'll go with Davy Fincher. That's fair. But few and far between. That's my
Hmm.
point.
Yeah.
And not that
The
many in the age of the internet. Like in the actual like right now, we all have the internet all the time, internet
hmm
time.
Yeah.
We suck. It's terrible. Every time that we try it, it's really annoying. Shouts to Timur Bekmambetov. I'm surprised he wasn't the guy behind this podcast movie.
No, but the director of this podcast movie is going to make the next Paranormal Activity. So,
Great.
oh God.
Dead.
The
They're
other
out of
okay,
ideas.
the
Dead
other
culture.
new the other new release I want to bring up is what I think is the first truly great movie of the year. Definitely not going to be for everybody. This is Yes, directed by Nadav
Ah,
Lapid, a Israeli filmmaker who abandoned Israel. He renounced it. He moved to Paris, and now he works out of there. This movie in particular focuses on a jazz musician and his wife who want to be part of the cultural elite of Israel so bad. And they get the chance of a lifetime after October 7th when the government comes up to them and says, can you make us a new national anthem that we're going to use, to get people excited about the war and going to Gaza and killing people? And this movie plays out about how living in Israel will turn you into a schizophrenic psychopath with no humanity. This movie, its first half is like a Buñuelian attack on the senses, and just like the insanity of living there while your life is shitty Eurodance music and Pilates, and then reading the news about how 40 children were killed yesterday, just in one town in Gaza. And this movie just dives deep into the psychology of that and just what a broken person it makes you. Otherwise, you will literally end up licking the boots of a blonde haired man with blue eyes. And it's a movie about how if you have any humanity, you need to run away, you need to get out, and you need to renounce that entire thing. It's a very angry, very bleak, but also incredibly funny movie. It's a very divisive satire. I mean, even in its home country, they hated this movie.
Of course.
Netanyahu
Yeah.
hates this movie. Not for
Yeah, it's
everyone, but I haven't stopped thinking about it.
yeah, it's interesting to me. Like, obviously, you can look at the list of co-production companies, and just like we were saying with Surat, it's not necessarily gonna like tell you where it was made or how it was made or who made it, right? So the fact that it's got Israel on there does not necessarily mean that like anyone in that country sanctioned it or stamped it and said, "Hey, we like this. We're exporting this as one of our things." The fact that he's an expat in France should tell you a lot about how the movie got made, probably. I there's something about this one where I'm like, do I want to watch that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. It's not a high priority, to be honest. It's like there's something I feel this way. I haven't really talked about this other than just like group chat very informally with this group of people, but like and it's a totally, totally, totally different thing and a different vibe with the voice of Heinrich Job, but they're both just movies where I'm like, that just feels like a I'm going around. I'll see you guys later. Glad you had a good time. Talk to you later. I'm good. Hydra Job is different. It's a different reason for that. Like obviously that's far more something that I would be interested in watching generally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but it's literally just the use of the actual audio, even with the family consent. Like I get it. I'm not trying to say like sue these motherfuckers or don't watch the movie or boycott it. I just for me, I'm good. Uh, and I feel the same way about this. And like I said, I know it's different, but I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I would say, maybe year in catch up. I
yeah,
would
yeah.
check this out for
It
sure.
feels like a dastardly topic to make jokes about, even if the jokes are at the expense of the right people, but it's
And,
also such a
yeah,
reflection of the time, such a reflection of the situation.
mhm. Like that's the thing. The movie is completely on the point of like this is an evil project. This entire thing was a mistake. This country should never have existed in the first place.
There is
I'm
some
so I'm
talent.
so tired of thinking about that.
Mm.
So I'm just like, I don't
Yeah,
need
and
this.
like yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, and I'm sure there are people who will go and see this, who will walk out angry because they thought they were walking into some pro-Israel
Right,
nonsense.
right, right. Yeah, that wouldn't I would be in the mystery category of like, I get where you're coming from, but like I probably should have skipped this. I probably didn't need this in my diet. I'm good. Which is it's no disrespect. I think that that's one of those, as you add more priorities in your life, you're doing more things. I don't know. I feel less of an appetite to keep up with everything, where it's just like, I'm good. I don't need that.
Mhm.
One of the things actually that I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about on this episode, it's not like super duper on topic, but it is related to like I saw the Arco, which is one of the animated feature um nominees. Obviously, we just had Hoppers, which is like a pretty decent, doing
Cute.
well-ish word of mouth,
Yeah,
blah 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 animated feature.
cute.
The fuck is going on with animated movies right now? The connection point here for me is like I didn't go see Hoppers. It has nothing to do with thinking I'm gonna hate it or like it. I'm just like, I'm old. I don't need to go see every kids movie that ever drops just to be like weighing in on it. I'll see it if it sounds like it's gonna be something, right? I saw Arco because it is this international nominee. Ugh, gosh, not international category nominee. It's an international animated movie nominated for the best animation. And the movies in the animation category this year are like,
It's not good. It's not a good category.
God bless you if you like K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm not
It's
trying to like shit on
fine.
your life. It's not fine. It's bad. It's not a good movie. It sucks. And I again, like, you like the music in it, cool. You think it's fun. Your 7-year-old likes it. Again, bless you. That's fine. But like
And,
that one,
there's something
that's the
telling.
favorite.
There's something really telling. I mean, well, if it was literally any other year, Zootopia 2 would be winning this, but
Well,
That doesn't feel better.
I mean,
it might. What's
no.
funny is I haven't seen the original Zootopia, and I have not seen Zootopia 2, so I have no bearing on this thing I'm about to say. I would not be 100% surprised if I thought that Zootopia 2 was a better movie than K-pop Demon Hunters. Like if I left that movie and I was like 2.5, 3 stars, this is fine. I wouldn't be surprised if I actually, but it also
Mhm.
seems like a better result that Disney not win for Zootopia 2 and that the Sony people win for, even though it's like a Netflix thing, for the K-pop movie. Like that
Yeah.
at least speaks to some level of cultural exchange and like a little bit of artfulness happening, even if, again,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if the corporate movie was a little more my speed.
Yeah, it's telling when you look at the anonymous ballots that have been passed out this year. So many
And
voters just skipped not international, they skipped animated feature
animated,
entire.
because they're not voting what their kids said anymore.
Well, you can't. You have to prove that you watched everything.
Arco is like
Um,
almost demoralizing.
what happens in that movie again?
You're like, this is the best we can do.
I literally saw this in a
It's
theater.
like,
I don't remember.
I think Timu Castle in the Sky would be too much of an insult to Timu. We need something sub Timu, like
Uh,
Big Lots,
did you watch the dub or the sub?
It was a dub.
Oh, yeah, so you heard Will Ferrell.
I did hear Will Ferrell. It was not my choice to see it that way. It was the only option when I went to see it in theaters.
Hmm.
I'm sure that there were subtitled ones at some point, but that particular day when I had decided to go,
Yeah.
I originally was going to go see Goat, which I did see, and then
Oh
this right
God.
after. And I think that was a subtitled screening, but just, I
Hmm.
don't even think I missed it. I think I just went home because I was like, fuck this, I'm going home. Like, I don't know. Animation 2020 is really tough. There's like a small handful of things that I think have been great. Soul, I really like the Spider-Verse sequel. Uh, uh, Miyazaki,
Hmm.
Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, for me,
That's
it's Boy and the Heron, Wolfwalkers, Flea, Flow.
those three, man. Those three, I'm like, yeah, they're okay. Flea's probably the best of the three, just because you're dipping into such an intense subject matter that it's kind of interesting. Flow is like literal white noise to me. I,
Yeah, yeah, but it's got a cute kitty.
I advocate for like minimal animation things that don't have a lot of dialogue. Like Robot Dreams is the other one, right? Like
Oh yeah,
that's another
that's
very celebrated. And they just Robot Dreams at least has a whole story to it, but like I'm so bored by the state of animation, like truly everywhere, not just America, everywhere. It's boring. We're just running back boring fucking ideas. I
I
hate to
didn't
say it.
like people love the Wild Robot, for instance.
That looked
Like
nice.
I like, and these are
good
movies
jokes.
I would watch the Wild Robot if somebody was like, let's watch that. I'd be like, okay. But
Mhm.
like I skipped it because like I looked at that movie. People said it was sad, so I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
movie for 6-year-olds as
Yeah,
well. And that's part of it. Like that's when you
Catherine
talk
O'Hara
about
is really funny in that movie. R.I.P.
rest in peace. If you think about American animation, so much of the problem, and it's not just America. It's not just America. Because I would say Wolfwalkers is this. Although Wolfwalkers will make you think about other historical things that make it an enriching children's film, but it is fundamentally a movie for 9-year-old girls. Like not girls, it's just 9-year-olds. I don't know why I went girls because the
Mhm.
girl and the girl are the characters.
Yeah,
But it's for 9-year-olds.
I think it's
I,
important to teach the children how much Oliver Cromwell sucked.
I think that there are absolutely enriching children's films. Like, you know what I mean? Like Totoro is one of the greatest movies ever, and it's for 3-year-olds, right?
Hmm.
Like, so there's nothing wrong with being that. It's that that is like it's a shallow end of the pool. You're not gonna get like tons and tons and tons of stuff out of there. You're gonna get Super Mario Galaxy for the most part, is what you're gonna get out of this part of the pool. Um, then you get to the other parts of the world where, like, allegedly, you know, Guillermo del Toro, fuck, I mean, and that was probably a U.S. production, that his Pinocchio movie, but he's all this like animation is not a genre. It's you know, it's a medium. It's not just movies for kids. And then his Pinocchio movie is for fucking children. Like, it's clearly for children. It's very pointedly for children. And there's nothing, that's not what makes it wrong or anything. It just feels like in the West, that is the problem. Everywhere
Hmm.
else, I feel like the problem is we have, I hate to say that we've run out of ideas. I think that animated movies at the level of a Hayao Miyazaki or a Makoto Shinkai require a lot of budget and a lot of labor and a
Hmm.
lot of production. And so
Yeah.
they don't get made unless you are Hayao Miyazaki or unless you
Hmm.
are Makoto Shinkai. And Makoto Shinkai, they've got his ass at gunpoint like, you will make your name an eighth time or we will fucking not fund your shit. Like, get in there and make us another romance
Hmm.
right now. Like, so even then, like, there are just these pressures of like what the system expects out of a big budget thing. And then you have low budget stuff. Like Flow is something that was just basically made in Blender. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
literally Blender, but it was
It was
basically Blender.
Blender. It was
I was gonna
literally
say
Blender.
I thought it literally might be, which is cool. Like that's such a feat. I just movie's kind of white noise to me. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's like a cat going around. It's very much it's very much like the video game journey specifically. It feels like a PS3 video game that
Mm.
you're watching a Let's Play of,
Yeah.
and the video game is you're a cat.
In
I
Japan specifically, it's either be Shinkai or adapt an arc of a show that people can
Right.
only watch if they've seen two seasons previously to
Demon
mm,
understand.
Slayer or Demon Hunter, Demon whatever that is, Chainsaw
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Everybody loved that Chainsaw Man movie. I'm like, okay, great. I have done enough of this Juju Kaisen bullshit where I go and watch a movie without the proper context, and I'm like, I don't know what
no,
the fuck
don't.
any of this is.
Yeah, don't do that.
So
Oh
I'm sure that this
God.
all works, but I gotta do homework to get there, and I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I do think the state of animation is particularly dire. I mean, hopefully that turns around at some time, but it will probably not be from the top dogs. Like, it's not going to be from Pixar, especially with Peak Doctor being, a hack and a
Oh
sellout.
my goodness, dude.
We
You
don't make,
either
we
you
don't
either
do
die a
therapy.
creative or you live long enough to see yourself become a suit. That shit was crazy. The director of Inside Out talking about, I'm sorry, our movies aren't therapy. What the fuck are you saying? That's not
Uh,
even the meaty part of what he's saying, because he's basically like, if you just scrub away the
hmm.
actual words he uses and you get to the underlying meaning, what he is saying is homophobes pay for movie tickets too. We cannot make it too gay or we will lose our shareholders. Like, it's fucking
Bitch made behavior.
crazy.
Bitch made behavior.
100%. And you can
We,
tell Elio is just like kneecapped because it's not that
yeah.
movie.
And even Hoppers is really kneecapped. And like Hoppers, like I laughed, I had a good enough time. It is a ideologically compromised movie. It is a movie about how we should be nice to Gavin Newsom too because he cares about his mom, guys. They literally have a cutaway of him taking care of his old mom to show that the mayor isn't entirely villainous.
There's a movie I think we might talk about when we get to the five-star segments that has a guy tending his mother scene and then something anyway, we'll talk about that. We'll get
Ah!
there. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I need the Pixar version of Hunger.
Well, now it would be about how
Oh,
Yeah,
Margaret Thatcher had a
yeah,
point
Margaret
too.
Thatcher was such a strong woman,
Do you think Margaret
such a
Thatcher was the
powerful
girl
leader.
boss? Naomi Campbell's so fucking evil. I mean, she was on the island with Jeffrey and the rest, so
Oh God. We've gone off the rails, but I'm glad that we got to talk a little bit about animation. For me, I have joked again, mostly like group chats. I probably said it on this podcast errantly too, where it's like Del Toro is wrong. Animation is not cinema. I fucking love animated movies. I love that shit. I think it's such a rich movies depend on a camera being able to shoot something that is lit in the real world. Avatar proves that there is this whole like middle distance that can exist. I'm still a little leery of that middle distance, but animation is literally a black box. You can do fucking anything.
Hmm.
Any like limitless. I'm not even talking about narrative. I'm talking about you could just make the coolest looking shit in animated movies, and they just don't care about that. They don't care about that. And I know that most of where my ire comes from is that it is locked into this vault of children's movies that can't even evolve. So we've got Toy Story 5 coming out, and I've been thinking about if you trace from 95 to 2010 and then 2010 to now, that's basically two equal periods of a 30-year span.
Hmm.
From 95 to 2010, we go from Andy's a boy to Andy's leaving for college. And then from that same period, then to 2019 and now to 2026, Bonnie, who is the kid from 3, is a fucking iPad kid 15 years later. And I know that that's not like inherently bad storytelling or anything, but it feels so indicative of what Pixar was and now what Pixar is and what everything is like we're just
Hmm.
suspended in this fucking eternal hell of just infinite childhood. It's terrible.
And like half the cast is dead at this point. Like, what are we doing?
And you're still making them for millennials and you know it. So figure that out. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. That's a very specific to Pixar kind of beef, but
Yeah.
the whole thing feels broken right now.
Fingers crossed on Gato, I guess. I mean, Gato. It's
Yeah,
supposedly gonna be 2D or 2D inspired, which I guess is forcing them to go back to the drawing board a little bit.
literally.
Yeah.
I just like YouTube gave me a trailer for something called A Magnificent Life, which is a new Sony Pictures Classics movie. Uh, I didn't really get anything like plot wise, but I'll send it to you guys. It looks visually phenomenal.
Okay.
Like it's just so like
Oh, wait. Yeah, no, I know what that is. Yeah. That's from the guy who made Triplets of Belleville.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can't think of his name. French dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah
am excited
yeah
about that one actually.
these motherfuckers playing pétanque.
Yeah,
So
I think that's opening here at the end of the month.
So, anybody got any rewatches they want to talk about? Particularly anything you might have bumped a rating on, anything like that?
Yeah, I got a pair of rewatches. They just play everything on 35 millimeter out here all the time,
That they do.
24/7.
That they do. If this is
So
5 stars, I would hold it.
okay, okay, I'll hold both for them then.
Okay,
They're both fives.
got it. Morgan,
uh
you got anything?
yeah, just briefly, yesterday, as of recording, was Friday the 13th.
Indeed.
So uh went to a friend's house. We watched Freddy versus Jason, which remains wildly entertaining.
Yeah, it's way better than it should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's the best Friday the 13th movie. Um,
I'm
what?
glad I'm glad that you like Nightmare 3 enough to not fucking tell me that it's your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
No, I wouldn't even say it's better than. I certainly wouldn't say it's better than the first Nightmare. I
But
may
it's like the
enjoy.
best of it's like the best of like the numbered sequels, you know what I mean? That are just like Freddy Krueger installments.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
like
it's
it's
I think
better
it's like
than.
a
I think I've
it's like
only
a
seen the
strangely
first
good
three.
Nightmare one. It's
Yeah,
a strangely good Nightmare
Oh
movie.
yeah,
Like it
Nightmare 4 and
chronicles through it.
5 are dog shit.
Maybe it's also the best Nightmare comedy. Like that actually
yeah.
just
No,
works as a comedy.
he's doing bits the
Right.
whole time.
Yeah.
Which he does a lot in the sequels, but it's like no, it actually feels like because it's like an action comedy. It's like blending these genres fairly seamlessly.
Hmm.
And then we
That is a
watched
lot of praise for Freddy versus Jason, but
Yeah,
nevertheless.
good
I don't
good
know.
movie. Um, and then we watched part six, which is my favorite of the
Yeah, me
actual
too.
Friday the 13th ones.
Me too.
It's fine. It's
Yeah,
it's
I,
it's good.
I think that's my
That
favorite.
franchise sucks.
It's very bad.
Like we talk about how much Halloween sucks, but like Halloween has an all-timer at the start, and then movies you can argue about. Friday
Hmm.
the 13th is like this peaks at eh,
It's either six, because it's not the original. The original's not good.
no.
No,
And I can't really remember any of the other sequels. It's just six. It's like six and then Freddy versus Jason. It's interesting how much of like a trope setter it
I
is.
think part two might actually be my favorite.
Sure.
Eh,
I
eh,
guess.
eh.
Like, but just like the camp and Jason as like this iconic slasher. It's interesting like
Hmm.
how big they are in a way.
Yeah,
Like what their footprint is.
all of these franchises are kind of the same movie after movie, but it's remarkable how much the same Friday the 13th is movie after movie. Like after two, it's virtually identical.
If you were gonna make like a stand-up bit about slasher movie tropes, you would basically be making a long Friday the 13th joke.
Yeah. That's all for me.
The only rewatch on my plate worth really talking about was I did go and see Harold and Maude, which they played in theaters here.
Hey.
Obviously, rest in peace to Bud Cort. Um, Great movie. I don't have a lot to add about it. That's a movie where I think if you've never seen Harold and Maude, going into it about as dry and as blank as you can
Hmm.
will knock your socks off.
Yeah.
There's a particular kind of switch the movie hits, and you're like, oh, like it's a strange, the Bud Cort character is doing all these like little suicide gags and he's like depressive and it's like kind of cartoony and the imagery is a little over the top and then the Ruth Gordon performance is electrifying but also grating intentionally where you're like what is this woman's deal? Really profoundly moving. I think something that when an actor passes away and you watch their previous work, there's a new dimension that certain things take on, and because of how morbid this movie gets in some ways, it's just a
Mm.
very touching one. I know that my buddy saw Brewster McCloud after Bud Cort passed, and like that would be another one where there's just
Hmm.
such a like nostalgic energy to these movies in a way. Nostalgic without being like, I mean, Harold and Maude is a very sweet movie, but it's not like not lacking in like body depth when you're talking about nostalgia, which can be the case. We all collectively watched Death Becomes Her and Who Framed Roger Rabbit together, which was a delightful time with Robert Zemeckis, two of his best pictures. We talked about Back to the Future, but I can't remember if by the time we did our last episode, I had done parts two and three yet, but I did watch parts two and three. Really, three kind of came up for me, like based on how I remembered it. There's something in
Hmm.
the middle of that movie that's very like if you really start thinking about it, like all of the events of all of the Back to the Future movies for Marty are continuous. Like it starts on one night in 1985 and he starts doing all this shit, blah 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 blah, never even gets a break. So by the time they're in the Old West and the movies have iterated like and repeated themselves, you've like seen this scene and we've gone back to that scene and this homage happens. You start feeling like these guys in their effort to like plug a hole, 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 are in that Buñuelian nightmare space. Like they are stuck in a hell of time travel of their own making for three solid movies. And somewhere in the third movie, it hits like a kind of comedic fever pitch that it's like that. And then it skates into like a very happily ever after ending that I'm like, all right, I don't fucking care anymore. This was really, really, really funny when they were trapped in purgatory though. And then, the rest of the movie kind of happens and it's like, yeah, these are fun. Those have never been my favorites, but it had been long enough that I enjoyed going through the set of them all together. And three did come up a bit for me, which I didn't expect.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had never seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Death Becomes Her when we watched them. Uh, Both great.
Yep.
He's uh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Flaccid. Flaccid.
Uh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is exactly as good as people say it is. Um, and like the degree to which the how did they do this factor
Oh yeah.
remains cannot be overstated.
Even
Like,
now, it's just like, how?
yeah. Well, especially now, because if they tried to do this today, it would look like dog shit.
And it wouldn't happen. It would be
Yeah.
the closest you would get to it would be this is your thing on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You think about other movies like it, and you get to Space Jam and Space Jam: The New Age, right? Or whatever the fuck that movie's called with LeBron
New
James.
legacy.
The new doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense, LeBron. What are you talking about?
What the
But
fuck
that
does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
that is your
Yeah.
comparison point.
Also
Is
stars
fucking
some of the
Space
people
Jam
from
2.
this.
Oh God. Oh yeah, it does. Why? Yeah, why are the nuns in there? What was happening there?
Still no American home release for this movie, by the way. This is a British DVD.
I think Alex Delarge from
Maybe we can get in David Ellison's ear about this. He's a cinephile.
Maybe if
the
we promise him, hey, we'll give you your eyebrows back if you give us the Devils on DVD.
Yeah.
does anybody have any five-star watches that they wanted to talk about? There's one other category, and I guess I'll actually just open it up. I feel like I need to explain this better because we haven't talked about it that much. But it's like projects. So like Cole, actually Cole, you do have a project, and you should talk about it. Talk about your project, Cole, because it's fucking dumb. Which I love you for, but we got to talk about it. Talk about it.
Fine. So I'm a day and 15 hours into logistics at this point.
Clarification. By a
I,
day and 15 hours, he means, what is that? 39 hours?
yeah,
Yeah.
39.5,
Yeah,
something like
39 and a
that.
half hours. 39 hours. Okay, please continue.
The film is, oh, I think I mentioned this last time, or at
Probably.
least like on the Best of 2025 episode. But this is a art film by Erica Magnuson and Daniel Anderson. It's about the movement of goods. This is about the transportation of goods. You are watching the movement of a pedometer in reverse from its point of sale in Stockholm to its manufacturing place in Bao'an, China. The movie is 51,420 minutes. That's 35 days and 17 hours. You can watch it on YouTube. It's divided into 8-hour chunks. There's 107 videos uh in the playlist. So
107 8-hour
I'm
videos.
just watching, one a week. So I will probably be done probably sometime by the Olympics in 2028.
We also successfully got Cole to watch a few episodes of Mad Men.
Yeah,
He
I'm
got to the
working on
oyster
it.
episode. He got to the
Yeah.
oyster episode, which is fucking hilarious.
I television is the devil's medium, but you know what? Mad Men's good.
Sometimes
You
they
know
hit.
what? It's good.
Television
Yeah.
is the devil's medium, but I'm gonna watch a 10-year long movie. Huh?
Listen, you know what? It's just fascinating to just like watch time go by. Like, the most recent chunk I was watching, over half of that hour runtime was in complete darkness because you're on the boat, it's at night, you can't see anything. And then, just the sun slowly rises over the dawn.
Go outside.
You can
Go
watch the
outside.
sunrise in real life. You can do it. If you just know when to wake up and go outside, get your coffee.
I,
This is
I am
that really
often
does become my thing with
I am
this.
often outside. Well, not this week because it's a heat wave. It's gonna be like 90 all of fucking next week.
There's something in this. Like I remember back when I lived in my old apartment, whenever it rained, there was like a really compelling, I don't know how to describe it, like the way that the rain would build up and the puddles would build up. I just used to really like to sit out there and watch it. I had a little overhang and just sit out there and smoke or eat or have a little coffee and like just watch that happen. And I have thought to myself, literally, because maybe at that time it was like I'm gonna watch this movie, right? And I got the Blu-ray out and I put it in the Blu-ray player and it was raining and I was sit out there and I just fucking didn't watch a movie for 2 hours because I was doing this instead. I have thought to myself, like, this is better than any movie could ever be. Like just that little moment, being part of it, observing it. And there is something in slow cinema that is that. Like if we talk about Bellatar, I similar experience watching the movie Damnation. There are these long, 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 long takes outside these buildings in Hungary where it's raining and the rain is pelting against the siding of the building and the wood, and it's changing the color of the wood over time. And in that black and white film, it means it's going from like a very light shade of gray to progressively darker shades of gray. And there is something so cool about that for like a limited period of time. Once we get to 8 hours, I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Once we get to 107 8 hour chunks, it's like, okay, I
Uh,
I
I,
would just not watch it. That's how it would be over here, and I would be over here.
And like I mean truthfully, like I work from home 1 day a week. There's no audio to any of these, so I have it on while
It's
I'm,
more museum piece.
working.
That's
Yes.
not, it's always how I figured you would watch, not you, but like how one would watch a movie like Empire, Andy Warhol's Empire, where it's the
Mhm.
24-hour long outside the Empire State Building, is you just kind of throw it up and you just leave it running and you do whatever it is that you're doing, but you also kind of watch this movie. Like to me, like that does get you into museum piece territory, which I think can be very captivating, but you're always kind of like, you can almost think of it like a big table, like a big charcuterie, and you're just taking little bits and
Mhm.
pieces off of it at a time.
And there's some fun parts too, like someone's like cleaning the deck and then they see the camera and they smile and wave at it and then they clean the camera lens multiple times.
I
Like
love film editors. I feel like we could have made this into a 4 hour something. And at 4 hours, it would still be like, fuck, that's long.
I think 4 hours was a trailer for this movie.
That's not how trailers work.
I mean, a trailer is a preview, so in that sense, it is a preview of what you would get
Watching a
unseen.
preview of a movie, it's fucking longer than Gone with the Wind.
I,
Probably feels a little
I
shorter than Gone with the Wind, to be fair.
I think Riley said something like watching this as a sign that you were too comfortable in your life. And
And you know what? I am comfortable in my life.
it's I most of us can only aspire.
But yeah, no, I'm having fun. It's a fun project.
So that's a really good primer for just like what the category is, basically just a way for the three of us or anybody that's with us to dump whatever you might be watching as a an ongoing project. Best Picture nominees, director filmographies. I don't really like to do any. I read books, and a lot of times the books I read are motivated by, oh, there's a movie of it, right? And then watching that movie and like kind of following along that chain, just whatever type of thing. So, Morgan, you got one or no? Anything
Not
for this one?
currently. Um, but I am going to announce here that both in celebration of Resident Evil's 30th
Oh
anniversary
God, yeah.
and the upcoming release of the Zach Cregger movie, I am going to
Uh,
watch all of the Resident Evil movies, which doesn't just mean the Mila Jovovich movie. There's like four CG movies that also suck turds that I'm going to watch,
And
that
the
are actually
fucking
based on Resident Evil
chaos
lore.
go Effie, the
I've seen
Effie
that
one.
one. That one's kind of
Okay.
fun.
Okay, fair
Uh,
enough.
I will be doing my own catch up, probably just a Milo Jovovich movie. So
Yeah.
yeah. I, you know, I haven't beaten all of the games. I've beaten the like 20 of them that matter. Of the
wait, how many
now
fucking games are there?
A
31.
shitload. Yeah.
Uh,
That's like all the spin-offs. There's like mobile games. Yeah, it's a thing.
Oh God.
Core
played them
entries,
all.
there are nine plus a few extras.
Yeah.
Okay.
Numbered core entries, there are nine now. There's
Okay.
also like Code Veronica and a few other like main staples, I would say.
Yeah,
So it's
like
probably
if
like
you want to
12.
understand, if you want to like play Resident Evil as a story, don't do that. But if you did want to, there's like 12 games.
Yeah, I want to say
And
12 seems like
yeah.
right.
Mm,
Yeah.
Um, but I've played all of them. I've beaten like 20 of them. I might as well.
Yeah. Just get in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is a nice little space in the podcast for us to just be able to kind of like dig into that, talk about that, and give it a place to live. So nothing for me
Yeah.
this week, but or this episode, I should say.
I announced that now in part to hold myself to it.
And now we will move to the 5-star watches. Cole, I think you had a couple.
Yeah. So, they play everything on 35 millimeter out here. So the first I'm gonna bring up, I'm gonna talk about two. The first is Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita, which is it's one of the best movies ever made. I don't know what to
The
tell you
movie that coined the
guys.
term paparazzi.
Exactly. So this movie's about a journalist called Marcello, who's played by Marcello
Fucking
Mastroianni.
journalist.
Well, you know,
Yeah, he's a
he,
journalist like Don Draper's a writer. Let's put it like that.
ah, but he spends his nights living around Rome's nightlife, going from club to club, keeping track of the celebrities, paying off the waiters to say who ordered what. He's writing for the yellow pages. He's writing for the trash.
Uh-huh.
And of course,
The rags.
the women just throw themselves at him. Anuka Me, who is like maybe the best looking a person has ever looked in a movie. Um, in particular, is part of a torrid love affair with him. Even though he's engaged to this complete pill of a human being, God bless her, but like she needs to get out. And so the movie's about like this divide between him, like the idea of settling down and maybe aspiring to a little bit more in life and leveling up as a journalist versus just wanting the party to go on forever and ever and ever. And it's set over the 7 days, 7 nights. So it's a vignette see it's a vignette film. And over the course of the 3 hour runtime, it's about the party and also the importance of knowing when the party is over and when to go home. You do
Right.
not want to be there at sunrise.
There's something. First of all, I'm glad that you brought up Anouk Ami because like her sunglasses in this movie are fucking
I
iconic.
would
That's my only
kill
note.
both of you to have those sunglasses.
They are incredible. I this is such a this movie and 8.5 are so like texts for directors. Directors love to make this movie and they love to make 8.5. That 8.5 is like even more because obviously it's like reflective of the artistic process. There are 8.5 type movies before 8.5, but it's such a like, all that jazz. Every fucking Inarritu movie ever, like really riff on 8.5 really heavily. But a lot of, blanking on his name. He made two movies last year. Paolo Sorrentino,
Hmm.
Great Beauty, right? There's
Yeah.
there's just a
Oh, yeah.
lot of that La Dolce
Absolutely.
Vita vibe that exists. The vignettishness, the kind of free flowing narrative nature of it, where you are just it feels like one long party.
Hmm.
And then it goes on too long, and yeah, you wake up with a hangover. People are throwing the feathers in the fucking air.
And then you
Does
get
this
one
one?
last.
This is going to be a goofy question. It
Uh-huh.
happens in 8.5. I don't know what this is called, but it's the thing where everybody like links hands and they make like one long human chain and they're all skipping. Does that happen in this movie?
No.
Okay, that does happen in 8.5. There is something about in Italian movies where that is like a symbol of like the most like dire moral depravity that exists. Like it happens in The Conformist, and it happens.
Hmm.
There's a few others, 8.5 definitely, but it's like they play that little game, and it's like representative of how like we don't care about life, we don't care about what's happening. We are just like this frivolous, dancing, shitting Pasolini solo. There's something that ties all these Italian movies together about like the carefree nature of lifestyle. Like it's not grounded, not having traction,
Hmm.
not being real, not being authentic. Just living it up, living it up, living it up while implicitly, the world burns or whatever.
The listlessness of the mid 20th century.
Hmm.
And then, stuff
The
snaps.
decadence, the
Yeah.
excess.
And then all of a sudden, like Steiner, commits the unthinkable,
Right.
and then you lose like the guy that you were looking up to.
This movie, I think with Fellini, the thing is like he's just so musical and he's such a like lilting, dancing, fun-loving that it's just so impossible not to get swept up in the
Hmm.
rhythm.
I mean, when Anita Ekberg is twirling that dress around.
Right, right, right. In the fountain. It's like iconic.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
I don't
every.
really know how to rate the those are like the two. I feel like most people would tell you like those are like the two big Fellinis along with like Amarcord. For me La Strada has kind of risen to the top, but that's just like a very
Mhm.
like just the nature of that story and like the heartbreaker qualities of it. I'm like, oh,
I think that
oh.
one's in the top for a lot of people, but it from the majority, it's La Dolce Vita or 8.5 in the top spot.
They're just the big epic kind of, how the hell did he do some of this
Hmm.
type filmmaking?
Speaking of listlessness in the 1960s, the other thing I saw on 35 millimeter is Jacques Tati's Playtime.
Ah,
Uh, it's the best comedy film ever made,
mm,
and there's not a single line of dialogue in this. I mean, there is, but you don't get any subtitles, or you don't really need to know what's happening. So this movie is about Monsieur Hulot, who is Tati's, his tramp character,
his
basically.
tramp character, yeah, yeah.
And it's a day and night, and then the day again in modern Paris, 1967. So the main conceit is that really you're following him around, and then you're also following around a group of American tourists who arrive in Paris. They look at stuff, but they're all it's all modern. Like as soon as they land, they're instantly shipped off to a department store. And they spend the entire day in there, and then they go home, they go to the hotel, and then they have to go to an uber fancy restaurant. That's not only is it the restaurant's opening night, they're not done with construction yet, which is kind of a problem. So the movie's basically the opening, the department store. There's a little interlude where Hulo visits a friend of his home, and then the restaurant, which is like a 50-minute segment, and then the next day, and that's the end of it. It's a movie about how insane life in the modern age is, particularly when everything's gray and concrete and sludge, and everything just has the look of conformity to it. This movie basically predicted millennial gray, and it's just absurd. I mean, so much of the comedy just comes out of watching people. This was shot on 70 millimeter. I saw a
Hmm.
35 millimeter print, but still looked fantastic. So you're just watching these big liminal spaces, and you're watching people interact in them.
Hmm.
There's a joke. So your eyes just hop onto various characters and watching what they do in these modern
And there's like
spaces.
a just based on the Tati, I've not seen this, but based on the Tati stuff I've seen, he has a
Hmm.
really good way of like guiding your eye where it
Yeah.
needs to go. And it's kind of like this invisible little hand of like little splash of color here, a little movement over
Hmm.
there, and he's just kind of guiding you through the frames in a very orchestrated way that also feels, I'm sure in this movie it feels a little mechanistic by design.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
it's just a little clockwork machine of a movie. Have
Yeah.
you ever seen any of those Pierre Ete movies? He was like a protege of Tati.
I don't think I actually have, but
Yeah,
I
there's a
know I
Criterion
need
box
to.
set. He's got more of a Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton sourpuss as a
Uh-huh.
character, which is something that for whatever reason tickles me a little bit more than like the kinder, gentler Hulo tramp kind of guy. There's something about like the sardonic, like just like again, sourpuss, like guy that's
Yeah.
going through this thing that just is unhappy to be there.
Hmm. Exactly. But yeah, for me, this is just flawlessly directed. The restaurant scene, especially because you're following the different patrons, you're following the
Mhm.
staff as things fall apart, like the chair backs come off, or, they like stain people's clothing, or, the tile starts sticking to people's feet and they get ripped off. There's the piece of fish that's been flambeing for like 20 minutes at this point, but no one's eating it. And it's just like, how the hell did you pull this off? Just
Yeah.
like the thought of like having to organize and plan out and rehearse all of this is insane.
There's this Matt Johnson. He's kind of been the character of this early part of the year. He's giving a quote about like being a director is one of the worst things you'll ever do.
Hmm.
95% of it is waiting around or arguing, and then that 5%, because you've waited around and argued so much, you cannot execute what you wanted to execute. So when you
Yeah.
watch something like this, it's like taking that sort of statement into account, and you're like, oh, this is like actual wizardry, like
Hmm.
putting this all together.
Yeah, I cannot recommend this enough. This is one of my favorite
I
movies.
almost I almost watched this
It's
when we
amazing.
we were both gonna watch this and The Bride. And I went to see The Bride, but didn't watch this beforehand. I'm holding out that they will eventually play this on a theater screen somewhere near me. It's popular enough, it goes around enough. Print,
Hmm.
DCP, I don't really care. Just I would like to see it on the big screen so that when you're watching all those details, you're actually like following them around, not just looking at it on a little screen. Although I'm sure looking at it on a little screen gives you a good enough impression of the whole picture.
Yeah, I
There,
mean, if you have a
I feel like there's something more joyful in getting lost in it. Big.
if you have a big enough TV, it'll work. But yeah, definitely something that requires like a full immersion.
Thus far with Tati, yeah, I've enjoyed him, but not as much as his rep. I'm not in that Paul Schrader state of like I can't stand this shit by any means, but I'm doing a primer because I think our next episode is going to be for The General, which is
Hmm.
having its 100th anniversary. Buster Keaton. I fucking love that movie. I feel like that movie set like a really high bar for me for like these action comedy, silent, orchestrated masterpieces of like I watched that when I was in college and laughed my ass off so hard. I can't remember enjoying a movie more from like school than
Mm,
that one, and a
yeah,
lot of the other like whether it's Chaplin or whoever comedies, I'm more like, yes, I like that. That's good. That one though. So we'll talk about that later. But I will do playtime at some point. I might hold out for it
very
though,
good.
theatrically.
Hmm. Definitely worth it.
Morgan, I know you've got one 5 star because it's sitting on my shelf right now. I'm dying to talk about it. I should have rewatched it myself, but did not make the time.
Should you have?
Yes,
Do you value
I'm
your?
ready. I'm hungry for it, one might say. Oh,
Yeah. So
That's
inspired by uh a trip I'm making in about a month to the land of uh
ire.
yeah yeah I was trying to be cleverer about that than that, but I'm going to Ireland in a month and I'm basically just consuming a bunch of art uh that is Irish. I've started Dubliners by James Joyce. Uh
Yeah.
and I watched a mini series from the Dairy Girls creator. Well, I guess it's not a mini series because there's a season two plug at the end, but it's called How to Get to Heaven from Belfast. It's like a murder mystery about a murder mystery writer and like her old friend from from high school or whatever dies, and and she has to gather the group of friends because they did some shady shit together, and uh comedy and uh ennui ensues pretty much in equal portions. Uh, very good. Should have been like 6 episodes, but it was 8. Such is life. Um, but somewhat, I guess, I mean, not really inspired at all by any of that. I also decided to watch Steve McQueen's Hunger, because I love Steve
mm,
McQueen and hadn't seen it, and Irish. And experientially one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, bottom
And
five.
yeah,
Makes
and
makes Salo look like La Dolce Vita.
and in terms of like a work of art, one of the 100 best movies I've ever seen. Um, I think it's his best work. I have 3 5 stars for him, yet he remains outside of like my favorite director's canon because I don't want to watch any of those movies ever again. Those are
mm,
Shame, 12 Years a
Oh, okay.
Slave, and Hunger.
I was trying to solve what the third one was. It was Shame.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew 12 years
Uh,
and I knew Hunger.
uh, and I think that's really what it is. There's a very pointed like 20-minute section of this movie with that is pretty much just dialogue,
Yeah.
but uh
Yeah.
It
the
it breaks
remaining
a certain it breaks a certain surface tension when that conversation happens.
yeah, the 70 minutes that surround it are almost dialogueless.
Right.
Or if there is dialogue, it does not matter
It's more like
whatsoever.
hooting and hollering. It's like people
Yeah,
shouting at each other or whatever.
yeah. And it's like
They're not having
purely
conversations.
purely experiential. And
Hmm.
it's vile, dude. The sun. I also watched the wind that shakes the barley, the
Mm.
Ken Loach film, which is about the Irish Civil War, that happened just after World War One. My review for that was the famous quote that's like the sun never sets on the British Empire because God doesn't trust the Brits in the dark. Uh, and I've never felt more uh
Yeah.
in my life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just a vile organization
Yeah.
built, funded foundationally on evil.
Hmm.
Just want to say this is Steve McQueen's debut.
Yeah.
This is the
Uh,
first movie he ever made ever. Was like The Troubles, Long Kesh Prison, Margaret Thatcher, Bobby Sands. Like that's where he decided he would begin. The fuck you talking about? I'm not talking about it's the best debut movie ever. We could debate that. That's an argument worth having. It is certainly the boldest. That is certainly like the biggest swing I can remember anyone ever coming up to bat with for their first movie. Ever. I mean, Citizen Kane, if you want to go there from like a formal perspective, but just in terms of like the stick of and I know it's the 2000s, right? This is not like it was being made in 1976 or something. That wouldn't make any sense for the hunger strike. Sorry. So it's not like it's being made in 1985 or something. But Jesus, what what a fucking explosive first movie to come out of the gate with, dude. And then following it up with Shame.
Yeah.
And then following that up with 12 Years a Slave, which are comparatively a little bit calmer, I would say.
yeah, it is maybe the most experiential movie I've ever seen. Like it
Mm.
is its
Like,
purpose is to make you feel as close to what everyone on screen is experiencing as possible.
Yeah.
And that means sitting in the shit, literally.
literal shit, literal maggots, and then literal beatings, literal bombings, literal starving to death for like 2 months. Yeah. I think I'm not saying that this is why this happened, but you had been talking about Say Nothing because you had seen the Hulu miniseries adaptation. Davey chimed in that the book was great. Somewhere in the middle, I thought you had read the book, and I was like, fuck it, I'll read it. And so I read that book. I just finished it last night. Belter. Just
Yeah.
absolutely gripping cover to cover. The only thing that I felt like was wrong with it is I could have used an extra 200 to 300 pages about hunger, basically, about that thing. But I think it purposefully avoids telling the Bobby Sands story too much. Like it wants you to know who Brendan Hughes is. It wants you to understand who the Provos are. It wants you
Hmm.
to understand this happened, but it's almost more interested in how the Price sisters are a precursor to Brendan Hughes's hunger strike and then Bobby Sands' hunger strike after that, and how
Right.
all those things are connected. Naturally, hunger is like slice it off at the beginning, slice it off at the end. But it's just, I mean, gosh, is this not our like best Claire Denis guy? Is Steve McQueen? I mean, he's a little Hanukkah. You could throw some other people out there, but where, boy, you are just in there and out of there, and there's that Thatcher quote that hits you in the voiceover like a fucking bullet. It's profound to me how much it's able to speak to all these things, and it helps to have the Liam Cunningham scene right? The long take
Hmm.
conversation because they get to discuss and they get to talk about all the different things that are going on that for the most part you're just seeing. But even that is such a fly on the wall moment that you feel like you're just interloping on a real conversation that actually happened between these two guys before that guy killed himself. Well, sort of. That's a interesting topic of debate whether or not he did, if that's how you see that. Yeah, fucking
Very interesting to me how both these movies that I mentioned, When It Shakes the Barley and this, are directed by British people.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
neither of them are even vaguely shying away from like what the IRA was like, the provisional IRA was like, and uh, you know, the evils of
the
the
Empire.
empire that they were founded in.
Hmm.
Definitely rings as an important thing that Steve McQueen is a black director, that he's a black English director, and therefore
Yeah.
almost
Hmm.
certainly would not see himself as a part of that establishment, and has
Yeah.
not throughout his entire career, whatever topic he's fucking
Yeah.
aiming his gun at.
Absolutely.
And
Watch
Ken Loach
Bullets
is
for more information.
and Ken Loach is
Watch
Ken
Occupied
Loach.
City for more info.
Yeah. Ugh. Occupied City. What a good. That's my second favorite after this. So I definitely kind of have a penchant for him when he's in that historical mode because it is so racing. It is so like immediate and there, and there's such a focus on putting you in that circumstance that ultimately starts to. I squirm a little bit too much with 12 Years a Slave, which we've talked about on the pod before. Yeah, I think it helps that this is such a compressed, like 90, 100-minute movie.
Hmm.
Helps for sure. There's only so much you're going to be able to sit there and do. And
Yeah.
in that maybe reflects for just a little bit like these guys were in prison for decades in some cases. They
Hmm.
were starved to death for months, plural, many weeks. Yeah, if you get into the say nothing stuff, honestly, like the say nothing stuff makes the hunger strike saying seem easy because there was an entire precursor where these two girls were being force fed the entire time that they were hunger striking. And so they were kept alive by having a tube. Well, I just talked about having an endoscopy, having a tube inserted into their stomach and force fed every day for like half a year and kept alive. And ultimately, they outlawed that, which is why these hunger strikes were able to succeed. I'll air quote succeed, but why
Yeah.
they were able to be taken to their natural conclusion. Like it's just crazy, just a crazy, crazy, crazy conflict. The more you understand and learn about it, it's
Yeah.
yeah, terrifically complicated. It feels horribly relevant to Palestine in the modern day, and even Northern Ireland, even though, people aren't necessarily bombing each other in the same way. Like they're still part of the United Kingdom.
Hmm.
Read or watch Say Nothing for more information on all of that. I'll probably watch that show at some point if I like it enough to keep going with it. I think
Hmm.
it's only like 9 episodes.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Upsetting.
Yeah. You know
Hmm.
what else is upsetting?
Hmm.
The Pulse remake. Talk about the Pulse remake, Cole.
This is a good time for me to use the
It's
bathroom.
shit. Like, what do you want me to say? It's shit. It's bad. It's awful. It's so good. I
Half star?
yeah.
I think
It,
I've half starred that one too.
it's very 2006. I'll say that.
Yeah.
The last remnants of Christina Milian's career. The Dip It Low songstress. Uh, Kristen Bell has the raccoon eyes and the concealer lips. That was so popular back then, and now I'm just like, God, why did we let anyone go outside looking like that
Brad Dourif is in this.
for like 2 minutes at most? And oh my God, what an ugly movie! Just like the entire mid two
Really ugly.
thousands look, and then it has like the fucking like because it's of course it's ripping off Saw because everyone was ripping off Saw back then.
For
So
sure.
it's got like the jump cuts and the shaky corn camera, and it's like, oh, what are we doing?
It
um,
is astonishingly unlike the original. So I'm sure part of the reason why that Pulse remake happened, for instance, was the success of both The Ring and The Grudge.
yeah,
And I'm
I
sure
mean,
that there were others.
Oh, there were plenty. It was a full-on wave of remakes back then.
But those were the two that succeeded,
Hmm.
right? Where you've got and they both of those with Naomi Watts and with Sarah Michelle Gellar, both like this like blonde-haired American girl. Like there's a very distinct A to B to C that's happening there.
Yeah.
I like The
This,
Ring. I do like The Ring.
mhm,
It's about the only one of those I'm going to bat for ever.
yeah. This was apparently followed by two direct-to-DVD sequels, which I did not watch. But apparently it follows like a different plot of like how the ghosts are eventually defeated and then everyone gets to, live normally again.
Is there any? I'm sure that there is. I know, for instance, people would talk about like the Martyrs remake as being significantly, significantly, significantly worse than the
Mhm.
original Martyrs. But I also think the original Martyrs is fairly polarizing in some ways. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a movie that everybody loves. This new French extremity, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
Is this the largest gap that exists between a movie and its remake? That I can't think of a bigger one off the top of my head.
I mean, honestly, some of those Disney remakes are pretty fucking wide
Okay, yeah, that's
between that
fair.
and between
Like
that and
Beauty
their
and the Beast
originals
and the remake, or
and
Aladdin and the remake, or Lion King and the
Pinocchio in the
remake.
remake,
Sure.
Snow
Yeah,
White in the
okay.
remake.
Those feel like they're cut from a different cloth because it's the same people remaking them. It's not like a across the border, oh, I'm gonna try to make that movie that exists. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's not that exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you mean. I feel like there have to be like others that are just like disastrously awful. But I can't think of one that's like a more 100 to 0, like,
Like
oh my goodness,
you
you
missed the
didn't
point.
you did not understand any of that, huh? Like, because again, with like the ring, it's like, yeah, it's like the little girl, she's got like a little haunted history, the VHS tape, the abusive
Hmm.
mother, boom, 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 boom. Like they're getting all the beats. They understand what it's about.
Yeah. And
That's an
like,
interesting one. So, just as a precursor, using that J horror thing, like the Ring is not. I mean, it's the movie The Ring in America is 2002, and Ringu is in the 90s, late 90s in Japan. So it very much is within the internet age, but that's not really an internet movie. It's a videotape movie.
mhm.
That could have been made in 1994.
I think the most recent Rings movie brought it to the internet age for like the
Right.
ghost threads on YouTube.
But these J horrors were like ghost stories that eventually kind of tilted into that early tech world that I feel like Pulse is right at that
Mhm.
center of. But the others, like the other ones that we're talking about, like The Ring again, like it's a VHS movie. Now it is about like the kind of like virality, like chain email thing. Like I
Yeah.
see it, now I gotta pass it on to you, now I gotta pass
Oh
it on to him.
God.
So that is kind of an early internet-ish kind of thing.
Hmm.
The meme virality, spread it around aspect of it. And that's there. Yeah, I'm interested in like other movies about the internet because I feel like Japan has like a serious cornerstone on this, whether it's Perfect Blue and Paprika, this movie Pulse. Just a few years ago, there was a movie Belle. I did not think Belle was amazing, but I thought that Belle had such a strong grip on like social media and how people behave on social media and all those different dynamics in a way that
Hmm.
just when, especially comparing it to like Western stuff, just like we don't have it at all. I think
Yeah.
that Pulse probably has a little too strong of a reputation here. Like, I don't really think that this is like the greatest movie about the internet, but it captures such a specific vibe that it layers on top of that internet thing that is like a
Hmm.
perfect meld. Like the just sort of vacant, lonely, empty, death-filled nothingness of Pulse, I think is something that when people watch it now and they
Hmm.
think about the internet and how the internet makes them feel and all that
Yeah.
stuff, that's where it really has that spark of energy that a lot of movies don't. They don't even really
Yeah.
go for that. They're not even going for that level of like morose quality.
Yeah. I mean, like the only other internet movie that I think really just fully, utterly nails what it means to be online is Demon Lover.
Even that one, That's a very Japanese movie in some
Yeah.
ways because it's all about the hentai industry.
Yeah.
It's all about it's all about Japanese internet porn, and a lot of it takes place in Japan. So not terrifically shocking that Asias went there with it, to be honest.
Hmm.
There's something to be said for like how much Japanese pop culture infected the mainstream and how the internet really solidified that. It was pre-internet. There was video games. There's other elements to it, but like the internet made that shit ironclad.
Yeah.
I will say, and this is going to be arguable by some people in here for some fucking reason, but the distance between the Old Boy original and the Spike Lee
Ah,
Old
yeah.
Boy is as vast as it can be for
Yeah.
me.
It
That's
is. It is.
definitely
It
on
is
the
pretty
list.
vast.
That is definitely on the list. I don't some people in this chat with their 3-star ratings for that movie are confusing. It's the same rating as Return of the King. Let's just say that. How did we get there? How the fuck did we get there?
Listen, if we
Forget
start talking about Return of the King, we are never coming out of this alive. So
I'm just forget comparisons. A 3 star for the Old Boy movie that Spike Lee doesn't fucking like.
Terrible.
Huh?
I don't know what to tell you.
That's definitely a vast gulf.
That's not good enough.
Yeah, that's still a pretty wide gap of 5 and a 3.
It's not wide enough. Need need like another star there, I think.
At any rate,
This yeah, I think that I guess the way to close the gap on that overall point is I'm sure that there's a way to make a Western American version of Pulse, but you're probably better off making something like a Demon Hunter where you actually are
Demon
more
Lover.
interested in what?
He said Demon Hunter.
Oh, Demon Lover, excuse me,
Yeah.
Demon Lover. Uh, because it's more about how the cultural exchange happens. It's rooted in that place's relationship with being online or online commerce, or in that case, pornography, which
Hmm.
really, if you want to get into the internet, pornography is that's a great through lane to like understand what the internet is and
Yeah.
what makes it popular, what makes people go on it. So for sure that lane. But I just like it's so difficult to imagine making an effective version of Pulse in any place other than Japan, in part because of not only its relationship to the internet, but to its relationship with suicide. Like, and suicide as specifically a result of like extreme social isolation
Yeah.
that was such and is such, but was such an epidemic with young Japanese people, particularly in the like that period, like that turn of the century. Watch Sion Sono's Suicide Club. Paprika's all over this shit. Like there are a
Hmm.
ton of different works of art that are just related to this. Like, what the hell is happening with this generation and why? And I think this movie might be the peak of maybe not my favorite movie about the subject, but like the best one at kind of getting the scalpel under there and getting into like if not the why, then at least like the sheer feeling of despair underneath it all. And
Yeah.
the
This
kind of
is.
pandemic quality that is so common in
Yeah.
Kiyoshi
You know,
Kurosawa movies.
I did actually mention Red Rooms already, but I think that's the
Mm.
only thing that's come close to this in the last, I mean, since Pulse's release
Hmm.
to really, and I might think Red Rooms is a little better, honestly. Um,
It's certainly more pointed with ideas. This is a little I will say compared to Cure, which is like part of the inspiration for having done this episode, Cure
Hmm.
is very exact. There's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
way to like lose the thread of that movie. Not to say that it doesn't have like spiraling off ideas. Pulse is much more of a thematic soup with a couple
Hmm.
really fucking good scares in it. Like as a story, it's much more fuzzy around the edges, I would say. And I
Yeah.
think it's fair to say. It's leaning a lot on, I'll use that word vibe again, like aura, energy, image, feeling
I mean,
Mhm.
it starts as a bifurcated narrative,
for sure.
Yeah.
and I think deliberately completely wrong foots you about what the movie is even going to be about. Like,
Hmm.
And so many things about it are like completely unexplained. Like are
yeah,
just left as visual, like the red tape around the door, or just like the
Yeah.
sort of like shadow imprinted on the wall. Like it's just leaving you with that, and you're like, okay, I guess so.
Hmm.
And it's not a bad I guess so. I do tend to rail against things that get too vague, but I think there's enough rooting here in the overall idea of computers, ghosts, the internet, suicide, to make all of that kind of come together as a cocktail. But it's much more of a soup where everything's
A-
just kind of mingling
Hmm.
together
and
Yeah.
it helps that it's mostly images
for
Yeah.
sure.
that it, and the way that he's chosen to convey it with this particular movie is mostly like,
Hmm.
you know, you can even see the like American poster for this movie of like the repeating images that mirrors the repeating images on the computer screens that
hmm
actually take place in the movie, and sort of see what he's getting at. And that's,
There's a clear link there with the Cure, because in Cure it's all kind of starting with this one guy, but it's like this mesmerism uh, pandemic of like homicidal madness that's happening. And it's Chime, his more recent, that's like a fucking NFT 30-minute long thing. I think they're actually doing a theatrical release because Serpent's Path is getting a 4K restoration and it's going around with Chime. And Chime is like, what if a doorbell made you stab people? This one's like, what if an email made you kill yourself?
I've
And
had
that
those.
was like,
And relatable. Relatable.
Yeah.
but that becomes its own pandemic. And there's something a little richer to that, I think. Like kill sprees, like people don't, I mean, I'm sure that you could find historical examples of like i- imitating a serial killer, blah, 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 blah. But that shit, as we've probably discussed even on this podcast, is like very 20th century. The
Hmm.
suicide epidemic, is very 21st century. And so there is like just an innate sharpness that this movie has compared to the like, what if a doorbell made you kill people? Like where that ultimately when you reduce it feels silly, but this one's like no, there is like a malingering sadness or loneliness or emptiness that's kind of pervasive,
Hmm.
infectious,
Yeah, I mean,
unstoppable because how would you stop it?
Right.
I think about
You,
this movie and Paranoia Agent by Satoshi Kon in
For sure.
conjunction a lot.
ah, yeah.
It's paprika
Um,
for me, but like
yeah,
same thing.
it's
Hmm.
it's all the same soup. Those
Yep.
Yeah.
those two
Yeah.
projects in particular. Um, it's I was also thinking about this because I listened to a podcast episode about the Salem witch trials not too long ago. But like, I think what all of these movies and like the Crucible specifically is about the Red Scare and all that. Uh, but all of this stuff is commenting on the fact that like and this is an extremely relatable notion in the mid 2020s, but we are like this close as a society to mass hysteria at like any given moment. Like it could be something as weird as what if an email made you kill yourself?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
the contagion, and this is where the internet of it all is really, really sings with this. Like it's, I mean, I can't comment on how much Kurosawa intended it to be like this, but I think as time's gone on, this movie has become about the contagion of ideas
Right.
spread over the internet to me.
Hmm.
And the things that you read and see and how unverified they are
Hmm.
can hook into people like the fucking plague. In the same
Yeah.
way that like a World of Warcraft addiction can hook
Right.
into people.
For sure.
Hmm.
It's
You could be a completely ordinary person, and then the next day you read something online, and then like 6 months later you're storming the Capitol building.
Right.
Like it is so easy to be poisoned by the internet.
It's the kind of fantasy reality that you can live in. I don't know that this movie's too interested or engaged in the idea of like somebody who is like the prime suspect because again, I don't think that it's too early to have been about social media. Social
Yeah.
media, as we understand it, didn't really exist. There
Yeah,
were
no.
chat boards, you had AOL, there were like messaging forums, ways that people did talk to each other and
Yeah.
engage with each other. We see webcam stuff happen on this movie, not
Hmm.
dissimilar to a Zoom call where you're like seeing the, camera images, but everything was so rudimentary at that point, like camera technology, internet connectivity, like all of it is so much more dialed back. And yet, because it captures this vibe, because it captures this mood, I think it remains current. Like it remains exactly the same. Like that
Hmm.
bedrock idea has not really changed all that much. I
Yeah, I mean
remember the
it's like I commented earlier on how about how much of it is centered on images and imagery, and that has sort of made it ageless in a way because it's not at all bothered with the number crunching and minutia of the
Right.
mechanics of anything, really.
Right. There's not
right.
like a specific app or website that it
Mhm.
focuses on. It just focuses on the internet as a whole.
Right, compared to a Black Mirror, what's that Bryce Dallas Howard one? There's just like certain interface things that are like, yeah, that feels dated to this thing. That feels dated to this thing. That's not really how the internet works anymore. Everything about how the internet doesn't work that way anymore from 2001 to now doesn't really like it just glides right off this movie for the most part. I
Yeah.
think it the thing, you can make a lot of comparisons. The thing that I always think of is like Videodrome because it has
Yeah.
that kind of like half
Yeah.
remembered nightmare quality to it
Yeah.
that's not, you know, Videodrome, in spite of the fact that it's from the 1980s, it's even 20 years earlier than this, still feels relevant. Just the way that it's about
Hmm.
technology, the body, the evolving consciousness of people, and as it relates to the way that our society's changing and growing, and
Yeah.
the damage, or not even the damage, but the impact and the metamorphosis that happens when disturbing images and violence and death, and this gets into your demon lover stuff, is just readily accessible at your fingertips. And that's like Benny's video. There's so many things that kind of that is the we were talking about the ring. That starts with home video. Like that whole wave of movies starts not with the internet, but with the ability to record yourself. Then this is about how that is shared. And then that obviously starts to connect with Skype and Zoom and all the shit that we have now. It's still just the access that we have to see things that are traumatic and see things that are disturbing and that really, really leave this jarring experience impressed on you forever.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
how commonplace it is and how desensitizing it is too.
And it's so normal, but like the human brain is not built for this.
Hmm.
It will drive you mad.
What's interesting is that in the midst of all that, this again, like it just has it's not like a huge number, but boy, this movie has some scary shit in it. You don't think about
Yeah.
movies being scary too often. Maybe like a jump scare, maybe
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, that's got like a creepy atmosphere, like or the drama of like the Babadook, right? Is very exhausting. It's very like I'm so invested in this what this woman's going through that I'm like, ah, this movie is fucking scary. It's not
It
scary all
is.
the time, but
It is. It is.
Hit a motherfucker
I
with
mean,
the
that scene
hands.
alone, Jesus fucking Christ.
there's
This.
something about how like the ghost I think Kiyoshi Kurosawa has like jabbed or joked like the ghosts in my movies don't do anything. The ghosts in Japanese movies don't do anything. They just are. And
Mhm.
that the
That
the this
sucks. That sucks,
the,
dude.
ah!
The violation of just
That's right.
existing is what makes it so terrifying.
And it's like this
The act of
inevitable
crossing
approach.
the border of reality at all
Hmm.
is the thing that is like, okay, well, nothing means anything
Yeah.
anymore.
Hmm.
There's a part of this that I also it's not necessarily like a scare. It's probably something that somebody could eye roll, but I've had a very specific and we were all in the same place at the same time when this happened. There was a guy on Twitter who 2020-ish killed himself. Took his own life. You guys might know who that is. Um
Yeah.
yeah. Later on,
That is sickening.
Tweets were released on his account that he had scheduled in advance.
Yeah.
And so I did way back, not even the Spotify era, my own YouTube, I did one comparing Pulse to Paprika, and it was right when this happened because it was a person that died. It was a person that I grieved, like that I personally knew and grieved because he killed himself. And then there he was on my computer talking to me from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
Fuck. I don't know that Kiyoshi Kurosawa could have known that that was ever going to be a thing, but this movie's very much about that kind of like lingering remains of a person where it is crossing that partition, and it's grossly upsetting because you can't grieve normally anymore. That person should be gone. That is what death means. You leave, you're gone. And now you're texting me. That's fucked. I don't like that. I do not care for that. That's
Mhm.
disturbing, And that's something that happens in this movie that I feel like I've actually experienced in real life on twitter.com, where like that might have been one of the first things that I ever experienced where I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. I cannot be here anymore.
Yeah,
I mean the
I think that's what I've always been sort of like the second half of this movie is much less interesting to me than the first half
For sure.
because like the world
yeah.
falling to shit of it all is a little like okay.
Yeah.
Like
But
the ghost invasion.
it has to go that way for the core thematic run through of it
Hmm.
to make sense because if the world can't grieve normally, the world is going to disseminate
Right.
like just as something as certain as death being oh, no, it's gone now. It's not the way we thought it was. That is mass psychosis.
Hmm.
Yeah, that breaks people.
Hmm. I saw this before I saw Cure. When I saw Cure, I was like, oh, okay, I see how that's like more. It's just I don't want to use the word sharper. I think Pulse is actually sharper. It feels a little bit more amorphous, which I think some people must enjoy more. They must kind of enjoy the
Hmm.
mood piece of it a little bit more.
Yeah.
We had invited Davey to be here. Davey is a Pulse preferer of the two, as is Riley, another friend of the pod and longtime Jams and Tea member of that pod as well. I would love to just pick their brains because it seems like this is the more if I was just going between the two sets of ideas, this is the more interesting set of ideas. But as a narrative, Cure just is much more complete. I also think, as a
Hmm.
movie, the leads, you've got these two leads in that movie of the two main characters, the detective and the instigator, where no one here really has that much of a presence as those two guys do. That's probably the bigger gap for me, even.
Yeah,
To
I
the
mean
degree that
here.
Koji Yakusho shows up at the beginning and end of this movie as like a ship captain, and you're like, ah,
Yeah, stay around. Come here.
yeah,
Trust that guy. Don't trust anybody else around you.
This is also like very early digital CG effects, although in a way that I think works.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think it helps to have a little bit of uncanniness to
Uh,
them.
there's that scene where you're like in the background and there's the person up on the like tower that like jumps, and
Hmm.
there is something like fucking weird,
Oh
uncanny
God.
digital shit
Yeah.
to it that like beyond just the suicide, it feels like you're watching a cell phone recording from some
Hmm.
days gone by of that happening. And it's like the fact that it looks so unnatural is
Uh
worse.
yeah, the digital smoothness of this movie,
Yeah.
it's almost like you rubbed a little bit of Vaseline on the lens and then just
It's
left it
not
there.
getting to like that Ichi the Killer territory because Ichi the
No.
Killer is much more of a cartoon in
Hmm.
general. Like it's so over the top with the violence and everything. But it has a little bit of that. It's like it's very in that Tartan Asia Extreme era. I don't
greatest
actually know if
DVD
this
brand of
literally
all time.
was.
I don't
I
think it
don't
was.
I
I think
don't
Cure
think
might have
so.
been.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I remember like really shitty box art of it
Yeah.
on a DVD.
They it was a wide variety because they had like not early Johnny Toe, but like,
2000's
Election and
DVD box art was a tough time for all of us.
that said. to your point about the glasses earlier, it's like I would put both of you in a prison to get my hands on like a complete set of all of those. That would
Oh
be
yeah,
crazy.
that's more valuable than the Criterion Closet to me.
Shitty, 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 shitty looking Johnny Toe movies.
Let's do it, dude.
Just marathon that shit
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how it makes the movie look like you're watching something that's not meant to be seen.
for
Like you're sort
sure.
of violating the privacy of all these characters, just as a ghost are violating this tenuous wall between, the living and the dead.
Yeah, I mean,
This
I
was
think
in
if you
that
make
collection, by the
this,
way.
oh,
Ah,
okay. I think if you make this movie like 5 years later, even in Japan, it's a found footage movie,
oh
and
yeah.
it's just like so much less artful
That
and considered.
they did make this movie 5 years later.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah. Well, they ripped off Saw for that, so
That's fucking terrible.
bad movie.
yeah,
The remake, very bad.
yeah. I'm not doing that.
Many such cases. I don't even know why the fuck I did that. It's just like, why not?
I understand the animal urge to be like, I've seen
Complete.
this, but what's this like?
Right.
One of
Yeah.
these Tartan Asia Extreme movies is called The Red Shoes, and I'm very curious about it because of that title. What does that mean? What do you mean by
Oh,
that?
oh, I've heard of
What do you
this
mean
one,
by
but I
that?
can't remember what it's about.
Yeah. What a time. What a time this was.
Because they all felt like bootlegs.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some guy smuggled some crates from Hong Kong to you, but it's like you can buy it in Best Buy.
Oh.
Can't
We
buy
used to be
shit
Hmm.
a
in Best Buy
country.
now.
We did used to be a country. I don't think they sell physical things in Best Buy anymore, unless they're cell
Oh,
phones
Yeah,
yeah.
or JBL speakers.
televisions.
Those
That's the next movie Kiyoshi Kurosawa needs to make is why Best Buy sucks.
Yeah.
And that's gonna make me kill people. Cole, did you see that Serpent's Path remake at any point? The French one?
yeah, I did actually.
You did.
I did like that. And
Yeah.
actually, you know what? I think a great companion to this is Chime.
For sure. Definitely. But I Chime is like reheated leftover Kiyoshi Kurosawa, which is still very tasty.
Yeah.
It's like leftovers that reheated really well.
It's so funny that I made a movie about the horrors of the internet, and then like he makes another horror movie that's an NFT. Like,
Yeah.
like how did we get here?
Cloud is another good like internet
Cloud's
era of like
good.
very modern,
Cloud's
very,
real good.
you know, just that movie would not make sense if you made it before the 2020s. Well, I guess you could make it before the 2020s, but not everything about it would really work and
Hmm.
come together the way that it does.
Yeah. But I do think something that's just really timeless about Pulse is just the isolation of it.
Hmm.
Like even then, like when you had specialized chat boards where you met people who were interested in the same things as you or the same topics or the same people, and and you would build those relationships with them. You're still talking to someone through a keyboard, through a screen,
Hmm.
and you probably don't even know what they look like. You don't know what they sound like. You don't know
Right.
what their daily life is like.
You're sitting in your little,
You're in your
nine
cube.
tatami apartment that's just like a
Hmm.
little hole, like leaning over on your keyboard, drinking Coke. Like there is, and this here, this is the topic that endures and endures and endures and endures. And to Morgan's point, it's all in the images. It's in the vacant nature of the images. I would say the only thing about Blade Runner 2049 that you really are left with, and when I say the only thing, it's not because all the rest of it is irrelevant. It's not because all the rest of it doesn't matter or isn't there. That is a lonely fucking movie. Like it
Oh
is just
yeah.
vacant frames of Ryan Gosling walking around an empty fucking world. And you just feel hollow. It's just like and so science fiction, horror genre, whatever, like we're still very much there. We're still very much in that space. There was the other one that comes to mind is the Tatami Galaxy, which is based on a book and then was made
Mm.
into a mini series by Masaki Yuasa. So if you've seen Night is Short, Walk on Girl, that is like the sister thing, and that's like a very warm, lovely, awesome movie. And the Tatami Galaxy is like what that guy over there is doing, hiding away. Fuck, what's the a fire? Remember a fire? Where
Oh
it's
yeah,
like, you know,
the
it's
Pet
that
Film.
the self-imposed isolation of
Hmm.
this thing. And yeah, that's just gonna the Beast, I think, La Bête,
Yeah.
by Bertrand Bonello, like being catatonically afraid of failure and rejection to the point
Hmm.
that you just live in a box.
And now we live in the age of AI where people can build a box to look like whatever they want to look like, and they
Right.
can build these chat bots that they talk to all day long. And then I mean, we've already had suicides confirmed from people
Hmm.
who spent way too much time talking to Chat GPT.
For sure.
And it's like we are in hell.
That's a very dystopian,
I,
yeah, like
How the fuck do we get out of this?
the I watched the first episode of the new Nicole Kidman series Scarpetta because my
Oh
mom loves those
God.
books. And there's a plot line about Ariana DeBose's character. Her wife dies, and she's like a IT gearhead person,
Hmm.
and like her wife dies, and then Nicole Kidman walks in the room, and she's talking to her AI wife, and it made me feel a thing in my stomach that was far worse than anything in this Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie made me feel. And it's not even like it's obviously very much like this is a bad thing to do
Hmm.
in the show, but
Yeah.
it like just
I
because of
uh
the reality of it,
I
because it's like we're
yeah,
here.
yeah.
yeah.
Nicole Kidman, please stop doing television.
Yeah.
She's got to pay a divorce lawyer. My dad said aloud during the show, I wonder what her next short guy is going to be. It's a good question.
uh, so nice of her to retire her drag king persona, Keith Urban.
But that couldn't be because, like, how do you make yourself a foot shorter?
Let's add Ethan Hawke. He just did it for Blue Moon.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my buddy Pete Jackson.
Oh
He's not
God.
doing anything. He has time to answer my questions.
Is he involved with the hunt for Gollum or like what's
Don't know, don't
happening?
care.
I think
I'm
he's
sure in like a
is he
producerial role.
I was like, is he writing it or like what's happening over there?
If I have any strength at all, if I'm a decent person at all, if I hold to my ideals even 1%, I will not see that movie. I need to not see that movie physically, spiritually, ideologically. Fuck it. No.
It's just like not even a story, dude.
It's
Uh,
literally like a couple of sentences in the books. The
you know,
last time that I did that with the Middle Earth movie, that
uh-huh.
fucking appendice bullshit, I was so mad. Like even Tolkien knew to put this at the end and yada yada through it. Dumbass. I
Yeah,
hate it here.
but now we got to see how Kate Winslet handles it.
I hate it here. I hate it here. Terrible. Pulse is a movie about how it feels to me that movies are dead now, that movies suck, and that we're stuck in franchise hell constantly. We already
Yeah,
were when Pulse came out, but it's worse now.
that's the wandering around. That's the feeling of wandering around on that ship at the end.
Yeah, that's me
Yeah.
at AMC
Yeah,
looking at Scream 7 and Goat playing.
Oh God.
it's bad.
Movies might be dead, but there is always an afterlife.
That's true. That's true. And Kiyoshi Kurosawa is like back now making stuff, so he might be part of that afterlife. So that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I do think, I really think, I'm sure that these movies had their success internationally and in Japan. I'm sure that there were people talking about them at the time, but
This played at con.
I
Yeah, that's played
guarantee the
in
way that
Shark and
people
Regatta, I
talk about
think.
it now is so much stronger and buzzier than it ever was.
Yeah,
So in in
Yeah,
in a, in a real
this
way,
is
I
a
think the
film that
internet of
built up over time.
just the relevance of it, and I think Cure too. I think Cure's probably bigger now or more well regarded now than it was in 1997.
Yeah. Just the nature of access.
Hmm. And that is one of those distinct positives of
Hmm.
the internet and of the culture is that I think, there's no fucking way I would have watched Tokyo Sonata if it were not for the
Hmm.
way that all these other movies have had those.
Right. And now you can watch the ballet whenever you want to on here.
Right,
You can watch
right,
the
right.
Met Opera. They do the
Perform
performances
operas from
every Sunday.
18 fucking 13. Yeah.
They do them every Sunday at AMC. You can go and see them
Uh-huh.
in the morning.
Uh-huh. 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 Uh-huh.
I'm going to the opera tonight. Fuck you, Timmy. I don't know.
Will he lose or win tomorrow? I guess we'll see. All my money's on Wagner Moura because I'm a delusional freak, and he gave the best of those five performances by a large margin.
Yeah,
Viva
but
Brasilia.
that's not how this
I don't give
works.
a fuck. Secret agent sweep.
I think
This is a
Mike,
little.
I think Michael Jordan, Michael B. Jordan, it's
I
what the culture feeling right now.
I think so. And like he did win SAG the night before voting opened, and had a great moment there. But it's also like, I don't know.
Sinners is gonna win like six Oscars. I just don't know if any of them will be for acting. Because it's
I
gonna
think
win
that
costumes, it's gonna win production, it's gonna win
It's
probably screenplay,
it's winning screenplay.
song, casting, score, all in play. So I don't know that they're gonna be like, oh, we
I
have to give it an
listen.
acting award.
Listen. I know you don't want to hear this, but Frankenstein is winning production design and costume design.
No, not over this. Not over Sinners.
It's winning.
Ruth is getting Oscar number
It has
three for
been
sure.
it
Costumes,
Frankenstein has been mini sweeping the techs
fine.
everywhere.
Production, I
Cost
get.
Production,
I think the
costume,
production
makeup.
looks like fucking ass, but I get it. But no, I mean, truly, if that wins production and costumes over Sinners, that is fraud. That's fucking fraud, and we know it.
It's also winning makeup and hairstyling.
That I believe, yes. That's where I
makeup
had it
and co
penciled in.
makeup and costumes, I think, are fine. Production design is it's like, okay, dude.
Like clearly, Sinners has the better costumes. This is like shouts to Ruthie Carter. Clearly,
Yeah.
clearly, clearly. And the production is like no contest. It's like we're in the Delta, and that shit looks like it's fucking December to remember.
Yeah, this is Del Toro's backyard. This is what he made his house look like.
I hate this
And
shit, dude. Thank God a Lordy's not gonna win.
We can never have an award season this long ever again. Please, for the love of God,
it's it's
have this
been like
shit done by the
six
middle of
months.
February.
Yeah.
And like, we're not even going to get that long of a break because as soon as we get to con, people are going to be talking about Oscar potential for the movies there.
That's none of my business.
Yeah,
Um,
that's too far in advance. Every award that Panahi or Philho win is a moral
Uh,
victory, and every
yeah.
award that they lose is a moral failure.
Yeah, because like we're also in the cycle where like the release dates are not starting to matter anymore.
No, for sure.
Oppenheimer was July, Anora
Sinners
was
is in
September,
April.
Sinners was April, Everything Everywhere All at Once was April. Like if you can be out there early and you can dominate the cultural conversation, then it will carry you all the way to the end.
Totally.
which is
But
how
it
it always should
leads
have
to
been.
these fucking long conversations and like, wait,
Uh,
is it still the buzz? Has Hamnet taken the momentum? No, it lost all its momentum. Okay.
Yeah, and then I
Shouts
don't
to
know.
Jessie
She hates
Buckley.
cats, I guess. I don't
She's still gonna
fucking
win.
know.
That's absolutely locked in stone.
It's the only acting category that's locked.
I think
yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård's pretty locked, but I know that
Uh,
that's you think Penn. I know, I get it. I
I
understand.
know
I
the
don't.
momentum has shifted towards Penn.
Okay. We'll see.
Yeah, but SAG is never right about anything.
And the Oscars are a much more international voting body.
That is true. So, fingers
And
Wagner
crossed.
Moura, let's go.
my only real gamble on predictions was, I think, I don't know if I
Accident.
think, but yeah, because of capital letters current events.
Yeah. Yeah, that could go two for two, in theory. I don't think it'll beat Sinners for screenplay, but it
It's
could
not
win
no,
international.
I think adapted and
It's a,
original are locked for
it's a
Battle of
way.
Sinners.
Those are
Yeah, I
done.
I think that they're going to give Coogler an Oscar for screenplay. Yes.
Yeah.
It was just an accident. Fucking dog walks that screenplay. But we don't
Yeah.
have to get into that right now.
I think it's in conversation if it's just like the first hour of Sinners.
And then it gets into what it was just an accident is the whole time and is like a 10% as good version of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
By
Yep.
the way,
Respectfully, respectfully, give Panahi that award.
I will say this: the
I don't
fact
think it's
that the
happening though.
Oscar race is between two legitimately great films from a major
From
studio
from a major studio.
Yeah.
Rest in
is
peace.
is really exciting because we have not had this in quite a
No,
long
and then
time.
there are these 3 to 4, if you think Sarat has any chance in sound, 4
Hmm.
neon movies that really could shake shit up in just a couple of places. Like
I mean,
it's a good slate.
last year was Honora and the Brutalist just
I
knocking heads.
I was just gonna say
Yeah, but both
it
indies, like much
for sure.
smaller productions.
A24 and yeah, for sure.
This is like the year Hollywood Strikes Back.
This I
Which
will say
I don't know if that's better. I don't.
after
For
a
for
really
the sake
strong
of the
back-to-back
economy out here, I would like it to be better.
after a really strong back-to-back of Oppenheimer and Honora, I will say the best picture, which is going to be one battle after another. Could be Sinners, but it's going to be one battle after another.
It's gonna be
Either
one of
way,
those two.
it's a moderate step down for me after the last 2 years. That's my only caveat to being excited. It's still 3 in a row of really good movies, pretty much whichever of those two
It's
win.
a really great run,
It is.
and they
Compared to
will
how we started the decade, we're
and like
doing
they
better.
will undoubtedly fuck it up next year somehow.
Yeah, there's no way we get 4 good ones in a row. It's not
Yeah, no.
happening.
Amelia Perez Chew. I don't know.
Or they'll go out of their fucking minds and like, here comes Frankenstein, Best Picture. Ah,
Well, no, that
nightmare
was
scenario.
well, that would no, that's not happening.
You're
Like
right.
It would
They
be
would
the
have
great upset in the history of
it
the
would
Academy.
it would be like Jack Nicholson opening the envelope and going crash.
if they didn't do it for Poor Things, they're probably not going to do it for Frankenstein. So,
No,
Yeah.
no.
yeah, so that's our Oscars minute for the day. We'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
see you all after tomorrow when we've regained sanity.
Oh, thank God. Also, I like that it's starting earlier this year.
Sure. Well, for you, everything's early because you live on the West Coast,
Yeah, 4 p.m.
which means like 7 everywhere else. Yeah. That's a good time for it to start, is like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, means you can still party afterwards.
That means I can go to bed afterwards, but yeah.
Yeah. That's we're always done at like 11 here.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Adrian Brody, shut up.
I hope whoever gets the speech this year, I hope it's even longer.
Yeah.
And
So
like,
Timothy Chalamet,
who will be apologizing for like 5 minutes of that speech
double down,
if he
baby.
wins.
Double down. Make them matter.
I
That would
don't
be the funniest outcome.
I think he's certainly high up in the race, but I just do not think it's going to go to him. People are so adamant that it will. And like even before you know, Ballet Gate, because everything has to be a gate if it's a scandal. Um
We've run out of
uh
gates.
he's just so exhausting.
I
And
think that
I think
he's
frankly, if
I
you're
th
associated with the Kardashians, that is a poison pill no matter what.
and if you're talking about like the Oscars happened in like November February 8th or something, he was winning without question.
Hmm.
But like because it has been so long and because he has been going so for so long about this,
Hmm.
and good for the movie, I guess.
It's paid off for the movie. It's the highest grossing
Yeah,
A24 film.
I think that if you were going to say that, well, they've got to give it something. Clearly, actor is its best chance, followed probably by editing.
I don't think they have to give it anything. I don't
No,
think.
no, I know
Yeah,
they don't, and they've gone away from this. There's some part of my brain that always thinks like every Best Picture nominee will get something or has a chance at something
Yeah. I mean they like to
because they
spread the
usually
wealth,
do.
but like
Not always though, because you go to
not
22,
always.
fucking nothing won except for All Quiet and Everything Everywhere and The Whale. Good night. I'm still mad. I'll die mad.
The Way of Water
did
being the best movie to win anything that night is crazy work.
It by far, by far.
did anything else win the year Oppenheimer won?
I
Zone
mean,
of interest.
Zone
Yeah,
of Interest, Poor Things, American Fiction, The Holdovers,
Yeah, they
Barbie.
spread it out. Yeah, they spread it around.
The only thing that went home was the best fucking movie in the bunch.
Now, Zone of Interest one. Da-da-da. No, I get you. What they do to Martin Scorsese is crazy work.
They're going to hell.
Yeah.
Like even in that, Emmy of a Falls have come original screenplay. So like, yeah, there are some years where they,
Yeah.
they're like, all right, everybody gets a trophy. We're feeling generous.
I feel like more often than not, that's the way of it.
Probably not this year though. I think it is really going to
It's
be
a two-horse
just
race.
yeah.
it's the vortex of One Battle versus Sinners, and
Two-horse race. Hamnet will win an acting award. Sentimental Value will get in there some fucking where. Maybe just international, but I think Stellan's gonna do something. Um,
K-pop, Demon Hunter
K-pop.
takes home its two.
That's not a Best Picture nominee though, but yeah.
No, Frankenstein takes home a couple of
Frankenstein.
techs.
Ugh,
I
for
The people like
what?
the movie. The people like the movie. I don't know what to tell you.
For
I
what?
I hate to be like it's overdue, but I do think Jack Fish should have an Oscar.
I agree, and honestly, if they awarded Marty Supreme in production design, I'd be like, that is well
Makes perfect
deserved.
sense.
Yeah,
I would say that and Sinners are probably your two best options in that category, considering
yeah.
that I don't think Secret Agent was nominated.
No, it was not.
It's kind of foolish, but what are you gonna do?
Nonsense.
Very dumb. Anyway, enough of that. End of awards. We did have to talk about it though, because it's the Saturday before Oscars.
Yeah,
Kiyoshi Kurosawa, Pulse.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
good movie.
Yeah, it's the best thing I've seen in a little minute. I've been reading a lot. So, anyway, thank you guys all so much for listening. And Cole and Morgan, of course, thanks for being on and having a conversation. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.